Chapter 320. Where's that? Nayland Lan asked. An extremely dangerous place. Li Mu said, when I first came here, I was not yet 20 years old. On the third day after I came here, I went to that place in a trance. Then did something happen to you at that time? Nayland Lan exclaimed. No, Li Mu said, because I'm not old enough. My master has been paying attention to me ever since I came here. When he saw me going out in the middle of the night, he followed me. When he saw me go to that place, he hurriedly used a spirit tool to pull me back. It's strange. I didn't have any consciousness at that time, but after my master pulled me back and I woke up, I didn't even know how I got to that place. Is that place that dangerous? Nayland Lan asked. It's not a dangerous place. It's an absolute danger zone. Li Mu said. After I woke up, I felt the aura of death. It was so scary, as if I would die just by standing there. On my way back, I heard my master say that 10 people at the peak of the spiritual venerable realm went down that year, but none of them came back. Hiss, Nayland Lan and the maidservant sucked in a breath of cold air. 10 peak spiritual venerables had been completely annihilated. What kind of place was that? That's why I said, no matter who that person is, as long as we get him there, it has nothing to do with us. We can even avenge you. Li Mu said. Nayland Lan wanted to say something, but hesitated. She still didn't want to say it. Young mistress, Sima, Yu has already done such a thing to you. Why are you still hesitating? The maidservant spoke without thinking and accidentally mentioned Sima Yue's name. Sima Yue? Was she the one who molested you? Li Mu asked. Nayland Lan glared at the maid, as if she was blaming her for talking too much. Li Mu saw her glaring at the maidservant and said, Lanner, don't be angry. She didn't mean it. But did she really take advantage of you? Nayland Lan nodded, and the tears that she had finally stopped fell again. She said sadly, since you already know, I won't hide it from you. Do you know that she came from the Dongchen Kingdom? I know. Li Mu nodded. Actually, I'm also from the Dongchen Kingdom. I've known her since I was young, but our relationship has never been good. Nayland Lan said. Li Mu did not expect that Nayland Lan was also from the land of exile, but this did not affect his feelings for her. In the Dongchen Kingdom, the Sima family and the Nayland family are sworn enemies. My younger brother was killed by her. Even until his death, I did not see his body. Nayland Lan cried. I didn't expect that we would meet in the holy city this time. It was fine before, but today she said that if I wanted to know about my brother, I would have to look for her alone. You went to look for her alone? Li Mu asked. Yes. Nayland Lan nodded. I really wanted to know about my brother, so I went. Who would have thought that she would actually do such a thing to me? Sob, sob, sob. If it wasn't for the maid who was worried about me and secretly followed me, I'm afraid that I would have already been. Nayland Lan could not continue speaking. She climbed onto the table and cried bitterly. Li Mu punched the table and said fiercely, This Sima Yue is too hateful. It's fine if she usually makes me lose face, but now she dares to make a move on you. This is intolerable. I'm going to deal with her right now. Don't. Nayland Lan grabbed his hand and said, I heard my brothers say that it was because your clan members had provoked him before, so he made the Sima clan members beat up your clan members whenever they meet them. If you go find trouble with her, according to her temperament, who knows how she will retaliate against you. You said that she told the Sima family to beat our family members into pig heads? Li Mu grasped the main point and asked. I also heard it from my brothers. Nayland Lan said, In short, this is my business. Since it has come to this, I can only accept it. How can I still involve you? Brotherly, Lan appreciates your kindness. Lan also understands your feelings. But now that I'm like this, I'm not worthy of you. You should leave and forget about me. How can that be? Li Mu said, No matter what you become, you will always be the same in my heart. As for that Sima Yue, you're right. I can't act rashly. I have to think of a careful plan to get rid of her. Otherwise, I will also call her boss for a lifetime. But Nayland Lan still wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Li Mu. Lan, don't say but. I've already decided on this matter. I'll go back and think of a plan to get rid of her. Nayland Lan was very entangled. Finally, she raised her head and said, This matter was caused by me. I definitely can't let you take the risk alone. Since it's already like this, then let's think of a way together. An hour later, Li Mu left the Nalan family. After he left, Nalan Land's sadness disappeared. She took the pill from the servant girl and ate it. I didn't expect this tearing pill to be so useful. Miss cried until Li Gongzi's heart was about to break. The servant girl said with a smile, "This tearing pill has a good effect. After eating one, you can cry when you want to. It's very good to pretend to be weak." Nalan Lan said, "It's just that the antidote is a bit bitter." The servant girl brought some candied fruit for Nalan Lan to eat and said, "This Li Mu is really easy to get rid of." When Miss said this, he couldn't find North. But is this plan really okay? Will Sima Yue keep the appointment? I heard that she has a good relationship with Jade. When the time comes, it shouldn't be a problem to ask her out in Jade's name. Nalan Lan said, "As for whether Li Mu will offend the Sima family, we don't have to worry about it. Let's go. You must be tired from pretending to cry all night. Let's go back and rest." After Li Mu left the Nalan family, he didn't go to the Alchemist Guild. Instead, he returned to the Li family and went to the Li family's array master's room. On the second day, although there were only 10 matches left for the younger generation, it still attracted many people to watch. Half a day later, the competition ended. The Sima family had 16 people and 13 of them won. The other 3 were unlucky and met an opponent like Huazi Yin. They could only admit defeat. But even so, the Sima family still shocked the entire continent. This kind of winning rate had never been seen before. Their results also broke away from the last place. Instead, the Li family became the last place and had to accept the challenge of a second-rate power. When the referee announced the final results, he said, "Now we will enter the younger generation's challenge round. You can challenge people of the same generation or defend the arena. Those who defend the arena for 10 rounds will receive generous prizes prepared by the Alliance. The top 3 with the highest winning rate will also receive prizes. Those who want to participate in the challenge round can prepare." After the referee finished speaking, everyone was curious about who would be the first to go up and who would be the first to be challenged. Chapter 321. The entire arena was silent for a moment. Just as Hua Ziyan, Nalan Jia, and a few others were about to step forward, a figure landed on the stage. Sang Qiongli? Everyone was shocked when they saw who it was. It wasn't that he wasn't strong enough, but he was the most low-key person among all of them. He didn't even care about anything other than cultivation. Even if others challenged him, he might not necessarily accept. Who would have thought that he would be the first to go up? Why did Brother Qiongli go up? Not only were these people surprised, but the Sang family was also curious. Only those who were closest to Sang Qiongli knew. He rubbed his chin and said, "Don't tell me he wants to fight with that brat. That kid? Who is it?" Someone asked, overhearing him. "Sima Yu." That person spat out 4 words. As expected, Sang Qiongli looked around the arena, and his gaze landed on the Sima family. He looked at Sima Yue and said, "Are you willing to fight with me?" Everyone was shocked. He did not choose Huazi Yin or Nalan Jia. Although he was looking in the direction of the Sima family, his gaze did not land on Sima Yulin. Instead, he was looking at someone who had never gone up before. Everyone who knew about them knew that he had already surpassed the average youth. Other than those few perverts, there were no other peers. But he actually gave up on them and chose an alchemist? Could it be that her strength was even greater than the few of them? Moreover, some people paid attention to what he said. He said if he was willing to fight with him, not if he dared. This showed that he was lowering himself very much. Sima Yue did not expect him to look for her. She was stunned for a moment before she shook her head and said, "No. Why? Are you looking down on me?" Sang Qiong's expression was ugly. "You're very strong, and you should like to fight," Sima Yue said, "but I don't like to fight, and I don't like to fight in front of so many people." Sang Qiongli was silent for a while, then asked, "If I were to challenge you elsewhere, would you accept the challenge?" "Maybe," Sima Yue said. "I understand." Sang Qiongli nodded and said, "I'll look for you." After saying that, he leapt up and returned to the Sang clan. The people in the stands looked at each other. Was this over? Originally, they thought that they would see an exciting battle or a one-sided slaughter. They didn't expect it to end like this. As the one who was being challenged, she would be looked down upon if she rejected in public. No one had ever rejected someone in the competition. Unexpectedly, Sima Yue rejected her without thinking. As a challenger, being rejected in front of everyone was a very embarrassing thing. However, Sang Qiongli only said a few words to Sima Yu before leaving. Furthermore, he didn't seem embarrassed at all. This was too shocking. They're all people who don't play by the rules. Both the challenger and the challenged did not say anything, and the matter passed just like that. Seeing Sang Qiongli leave just like that, the other geniuses didn't look so happy. Sima Yulin was still all right, but the smile on Hua Ziyan's face froze. Nailan Jie's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Even if Sima Yue accepted his challenge, he could continue to challenge the next person. However, he left just like that. It was obvious that he didn't care about the others and didn't want to compete with them. The judge didn't think that this would happen either. It took him a while to come back to his senses. He stood at the side of the stage and said, "Who's next?" "Forget it. You can come up later." After speaking, he went down. "I'll go." Nailan Jie held his breath and landed on the stage. He pointed at Sang Qiongli and said, "Sang Qiongli, do you dare to fight with me?" "Ah, he's actually looking for Sang Qiongli." Fatty Chu cried out. "He's looking for trouble." Wei Ziqi took out a folding fan and fanned himself. He looked like an elegant young master. Sima Yue glanced at it and realized that this folding fan was really a tool for showing off. She fanned herself with it, and her aura changed. "Lend it to me." She grabbed Wei Ziqi's fan and fanned herself twice, saying, "Don't I look like an elegant young man now?" Wei Ziqi took out another folding fan and looked at Sima Yue, saying, "I feel like you have the aura of a wretched young man." "How is that possible?" Sima Yue said. "Would a wretched person look as pure as me?" Huffed. Fatty Chu burst out laughing. He saw Sima Yue glaring at him and quickly changed the topic, saying, "Ziqi, why did you say that he's looking for trouble?" "It's very simple." Wei Ziqi said, "Just now, Sang Qiongli left the stage after you rejected him. This shows that he's not interested in anyone else." This Nailan Jie went up and challenged him. "He'll definitely be rejected." Sima Yue nodded. She thought so too. "Sang Qiongli, do you dare to fight with me?" Nailan Jie asked again. The first time, Sang Qiongli did not reply. When he asked again, Sang Qiongli only opened his eyes and said, "I'm not interested in this kind of challenge." Not interested, everyone was shocked by his words. Just now, he wanted to challenge someone else. Now, he said that he was not interested. Wasn't this cutting off Nailan Jie? Nailan Jie's face darkened even more. He looked at Sang Qiongli and said, "Are you not interested, or do you not dare to come up? It's not about whether I dare or not. It's about whether I'm willing or not." Sang Qiongli said, "I'm not willing." After he finished speaking, he closed his eyes again. "It's not about whether I dare or not. It's about whether I'm willing or not." When Sima Yue heard this, she suddenly felt a little interested in Sang Qiongli. He and she had the same view on this. It's not about not daring to go up. It's about whether you want to go up or not. These words could only be said by someone with strength. No wonder he didn't have any reaction when he heard her say that she wasn't willing. He even left the stage after knowing that she was willing to fight with him in the future. It turned out that their thoughts were the same. Nailan Jie stood on the stage awkwardly. Of course, this was also because he didn't have Sang Qiongli's heart. Accepting the challenge was voluntary. If the other party wasn't willing, you couldn't just drag them over to compete, right? It was just that no one had ever encountered something like this before. Since Sang Qiongli isn't willing, this round is considered your win. You can enter the next round. The judge said from below. Although he had won without a fight. If word got out, it wouldn't sound good. However, Nailan Jie couldn't say anything. He could only vent his anger on the next person. He looked around and finally fixed his gaze on Sima Yulin, saying, "Sima Yulin, do you dare to accept the challenge?" Sima Yulin was not surprised by his challenge and didn't think of avoiding it. He straightened his clothes, stood up, and flew onto the stage. Nailan Jie looked at Sima Yulin, saying, "I knew that there would be a battle between us sooner or later." Sima Yulin looked at Nailan Jian differently, saying, "Let's begin." Chapter 322. Sima Yu had never doubted Sima Yulin's strength. However, she was still rather surprised when she saw his battle with Nailan Jie. In these 2 years, he had improved greatly. On the stage, Nailan Jie was being attacked by Sima Yulin's spirit skills until he had to dodge everywhere. He had no energy to use his spirit skills at all. On the other hand, Sima Yulin was a lot calmer. He held a large blade made of spirit energy and slashed at Nailan Jie. "Whirlwind, come out!" Nailan Jie shouted. A spirit paragon, ranked divine, beast appeared beside him. The moment it appeared, it attacked Sima Yulin. Sima Yulin hurriedly waved his blade to defend, and at the same time called out his big bird. Another 2 divine beasts at the spiritual, venerable realm. The spectators were surprised. Both of them have 3 divine beasts. That's amazing. The foundation of a first-rate force is indeed strong. Although the 2 divine beasts were fighting each other, Nailan Jie had won some time to use his spirit skill. Furthermore, Sima Yulin's spirit skill had just been scattered by the opponent's divine beast, so he needed to use his spirit skill again. Sima Yulin never thought that the Nailan clan would be so strong. It seemed that the battle between Sima Yue and Sima Yue would not end anytime soon. In the past, when a younger generation competed, each battle would usually take less than an hour. However, the 2 of them had fought for more than 2 hours. In the end, Sima Yulin had a slight advantage in terms of spirit energy and won with great difficulty. After Sima Yulin won, he did not immediately get off the stage. After taking a few pills, he sat down and meditated. After a quarter of an hour, he opened his eyes and said, "Who wants to challenge me?" The bitter battle just now had almost exhausted the spiritual power in his body. The pills he had taken just now were only enough for him to recover a little, but once the rest time was over, he would have to accept the next round of challenges. Experts like Huoziyin would not go, but many disciples with average temperament would take advantage of the fact that he and his contracted beast were both injured to compete with him. If they could win, they could say that they had once won against someone. Soon, a member of the Li family went up, wanting to save some face for the Li family. A 3rd-rank spirit overlord was not considered weak. He had initially wanted to take advantage of the fact that Sima Yulin's spirit chi was exhausted to defeat him. However, he did not expect that Sima Yulin's battle prowess would be so shocking. Even though he had just fought a bitter battle, he was still able to easily defeat him. After swallowing the pill, they would continue after a quarter of an hour until they lost or gave up on defending the arena. The members of the Sima family were worried when they saw Sima Yulin's current state. Even Wei Ziqi and the others were guessing whether or not Sima Yulin would make it. Only Sima Yi was still calmly munching on her spirit fruit. "You're not worried?" Bei Gong Tang tilted her head and looked at a certain someone who was nibbling on a spirit fruit. "What are you worried about?" Sima Yue said, "If he can win, then so be it. If he can't, then so be it. He won't risk his life anyway. In that case, what's there to worry about?" "You're quite open-minded," Sima Yuqing said. "There's nothing to be open-minded about." Sima Yu said, "It's only when he's truly facing death that you have to worry about him. You don't have to worry about anything else. Winning, losing, reputation, these things are actually useless. Why should you let yourself live so tirelessly because of these?" Yulin is also clear about these things. When the members of the Sima family heard what she said, their eyes were a little dazed as they watched the battle below thoughtfully. The battles after that proceeded very quickly. After Sima Yulin defended the arena 10 times, he voluntarily gave up on defending the arena. Yulin has won 10 times. He'll be able to get that mysterious reward. The members of the Sima family cheered. The members of the other families were rather surprised, saying, "He clearly used up all his spirit energy in the first battle. How'd he win 9 rounds? It should be the pill that he ate that allowed him to quickly recover his spirit energy." Someone saw through it. That's right. The rank of the pill he ate shouldn't be low. It takes effect very quickly. Every time he recovers his spirit energy, he will use it for the next round. What kind of pill is so effective? How would I know? I've never seen it before. Today's battle ended after Sima Yulin gave up on defending the arena. There was still one more day of battle tomorrow. After that, it would be the time for the second-ranked forces to challenge the Leaf family. For the next few days, Sima Yu did not go to watch the competition. Instead, she stayed in the courtyard to cultivate. Master has already gone back for 10 days. There's still no news. She sat cross-legged on the bed and used her hand to support her head. I haven't seen Senior Brother these few days either. Could it be that he went back up as well? Is Junior Brother thinking of me? A voice suddenly sounded from the room, almost causing her to jump off the bed in shock. What did you come in my room? Sima Yu looked at the person on the windowsill and directly threw the pillow beside her over. Wu Lingyu stretched forth a hand to catch the pillow and leaned against it, saying, "It's quite comfortable. Where have you been these few days?" Sima Yu glared at him and asked. "I went back up for a while." Wu Lingyu said, "I was in a hurry when I left, so I didn't tell you. Now that I'm back, I'm here to look for you." "Did something happen?" Sima Yu asked. "Did something happen to Master? What could have happened to that old guy? His internal injury was cured by you. He was very proud when he went back, but you haven't settled that matter yet, so he can't come down for the time being." Wu Lingyu said. "Then why did you suddenly go back?" Wu Lingyu jumped down from the window and hugged the pillow in his arms. He came to Sima Yu's bed and said, "That old guy from the Sage Pavilion suddenly came out of seclusion and asked me to go back. I dealt with it for a few days and came back. Master told me to tell you to wait for a few more days." "Oh, I'm very tired. I'll rest here for a while." Wu Lingyu closed his eyes after speaking, and, just like that, he fell asleep. Sima Yu wanted to say something, but seeing him like that, her lips moved and she swallowed her words. Mo Sha came out for the Devil's Snare bracelet and looked at Wu Lingyu's tired face, saying, "His spirit has become weaker again. If it wasn't for the fact that we used the spirit fluid to nourish it, he would have met with disaster this time. It seems like something happened when he left this time. Help him refine some pills that can nourish his spirit." Sima Yu looked at Wu Lingyu's pale face and said, "All right." Mo Sha immediately returned to the Devil's Snare bracelet. Sima Yu sighed and took out the pill furnace and ingredients to refine pills for him. On the morning of the second day, Wu Lingyu woke up and saw Sima Yu tidying up the ingredients. There was also a pill furnace in the house. He said sleepily, "Did you refine pills last night?" Sima Yu kept everything in the spirit pagoda and walked over with the pills, saying, "Last night, Mo Sha came out and said that your spirit was attacked. This is a pill refined with soul fluid. It will nourish your soul." Wu Lingyu took the pills that were still warm, and his heart was filled with sweetness. She had refined pills for him, which meant that he still had a place in her heart. Chapter 323. Milky white pills were very rare. Wu Lingyu examined them carefully and found that there was actually a circle of imperceptible vein patterns on them. Pill veins. He looked at Sima Yu in surprise. He did not expect her to be able to create pill veins on a grade 5 pill. Under normal circumstances, only tier 7 pills or a very small number of tier 6 pills would have pill veins. With pill veins, it meant that the effect of the pill was better than other pills of the same level. However, this was the first time he had seen pill veins appear on a level 5 pill. Even Old Man Devil might not be able to produce pill veins when refining pills. Sima Yue did not mind his surprise and said, "Mo Sha taught me." "Did he teach you how to refine pills?" Wu Lingyu said, "Yes." Sima Yue nodded and said, "He originally wanted me to refine some pills for him when I was able to refine higher grade pills. Who would have thought that after I obtained the soul fluid, I didn't refine any pills for him? Try to see if this pill is useful to you. If it's useless, I'll try something else for you." "All right." Wu Lingyu swallowed the pill. He wasn't familiar with this pill, so he didn't know its effects. To be honest, he didn't have much hope for this medicinal pill because a 5th grade medicinal pill didn't have much effect on him. However, he didn't expect that he would feel so comfortable after eating it. It was as if his soul was about to fly. It really works? Sima Yue didn't think that this pill would work because it was just a pill recipe for nourishing the soul that she found in the Spirit Pagoda. Although it was the highest grade pill that she could refine, She knew that people like Wu Lingyu must have eaten many higher-grade pills. This kind of low-grade pill might not be effective. After a while, Wu Lingyu opened his eyes. "All right, you've been here for the whole night. Hurry up and leave," Sima Yue said. Wu Lingyu did not think that the first thing she would hear after waking up would be this. She looked at her with some grievance and said, "Back then, when we shared the same bed in the Pu Luo mountain range for so long, I didn't see you say anything. Now that we're fellow disciples, you're chasing me away with medicine. It would have been better if he didn't mention what happened back then." The moment he did, Sima Yue exploded and ran over to strangle him. "How dare you mention what happened back then? You clearly know that I'm a woman, but you still dare to pretend that you don't know. You've been living with me for so long, taking advantage of me? I'll strangle you to death today. Ahem, ahem. Are you trying to murder your husband?" Wu Lingyu coughed and yelled. "Damn your husband," Sima Yue said as she increased the strength of her hand. "Junior brother, don't be so angry. How about I let you sleep with me again?" Wu Lingyu said. "Come back from sleeping?" A voice was heard from outside the window, scaring Sima Yue. She turned her head and was stunned when she saw the person outside the window. Her body was still in the position of pressing Wu Lingyu down on the bed, and her hand was still strangling his neck. Third bro. Sima Yue directly jumped in through the window and pulled Sima Yue over, saying, "What's going on? Did he bully you? Tell third bro. Even if he's your senior brother, don't let him off." Third bro, it's nothing." Sima Yue saw Sima Yue's angry expression and quickly comforted him. "Nothing? He even slept with you. You call this nothing?" Sima Yue cried out. "Tell me, did he force you?" Sima Yue saw Sima Yue's expression and quickly pulled him back, saying, "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" Sima Yue glared at Sima Yue, scaring her so much that she subconsciously shrank her neck. "It's that time when the sect was choosing the beast eggs, I was sent to the Pu Luo mountain range. After that, I saved him in the mountain range. He was seriously injured, so he said that he would give me a reward to take care of him for a period of time." Sima Yue said, "I originally wanted to train in the mountain range, so I agreed. Because there was only one bed, we slept together. At that time, the pill that helped grandfather advance in rank was his reward." Just like that, Sima Yue looked at Sima Yue and blinked, asking with his eyes, "He doesn't know that you're a girl. He doesn't know." Sima Yue blinked. If Sima Yue knew that Wu Lingyu knew that she was a girl and even kissed her, he probably wouldn't be able to calm him down. So that's the case. That's good. Sima Yue wasn't so angry anymore. After that, he looked at Wu Lingyu and said, "Holy son, I know that you're very strong and have a very high status. However, if you want to hurt fifth brother, even if we have to risk our lives, we will seek justice for him." Wu Lingyu never thought that Sima Yue and the others would protect Sima Yue so much. Looking at Sima Yue's attitude towards them, he suddenly felt that if he didn't settle this matter with her family, it would become a huge obstacle in the future. "Don't worry, Yu is my junior brother. I naturally won't bully him. If anyone bullies him, I will protect him," Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue turned around and glared at Wu Lingyu. "I'll let you off this time." Wu Lingyu got up from the bed and tidied up his messy clothes, saying, "Junior brother, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. I originally wanted to accompany you to the little realm, but if I'm not back by the time Master comes down, you can go by yourself." "Where are you going?" She vaguely felt that the place Wu Lingyu was going to was more dangerous. "I'm going to the ocean to take a look. Your continent hasn't been very peaceful recently. That old bastard from the Sage Pavilion has asked me to investigate." Wu Lingyu said, "Although I don't want to go, I'm still in the Sage Pavilion. It's not good to not listen to him. The ocean has not been peaceful these 2 years. You have to be careful when you go." Sima Yue said, "I got it," Wu Lingyu said. He opened a tunnel in the void and stepped in. Sima Yue was still in a daze when he left. "He left just like that?" he asked. "Yes. They have the power to directly break through the void and go where they want to go," Sima Yue said. "Fifth bro, at that time, he really didn't know you were a girl?" Sima Yue said uncertainly. Sima Yue nodded, saying, "Didn't I have an illusion ring on?" He didn't recognize me. We didn't do anything. We just took care of him for a while. But you were very angry when you saw him at Dragon Reflection Mountain. You even beat him up. Sima Yue didn't believe her. That's because he initially said that he would give me 3 pills. In the end, he only gave me 2. Sima Yue lied without batting an eyelid. It's a good thing that grandfather advanced in rank after eating 2. Otherwise, I would definitely find him to settle the score. Sima Yue saw that Sima Yue's anger didn't seem to be an act. He nodded, saying, "It's good that he didn't take advantage of you." Sima Yue smiled, saying, "Who am I? If there's anyone taking advantage, it's me taking advantage of others. How could I be the one being taken advantage of?" Although she was smiling, she was gritting her teeth in her heart. This guy better not give her the chance. Otherwise, even if he's her senior brother, I'll teach him a lesson. Right? Third bro, why did you come to find me? Chapter 324. It was only when Sima Yue asked this that Sima Yue remembered why he was looking for her. He took out an invitation card from his bosom and said, "The Union Alliance has invited some people to tonight's banquet in order to celebrate the end of the competition between the first-rate powers, as well as to have a good start for the various unions gathering tomorrow. Since you didn't go, we brought your invitation card to you." Sima Yue took the invitation card and read through it. When she saw the location, her eyebrows raised as she said, "At the Alchemist Guild? It said that this banquet was first suggested by the Alchemist Guild, so it will be held in their guild." Sima Yue said, "We don't get along well with the Alchemist Guild, so you don't have to go." "All right, I'm not interested in such banquets anyway," Sima Yue said. "Then I'll head back first." Sima Yue said, "All right, thank you, Brother San." Sima Yue walked him out. In the afternoon, Sima Yue received another invitation. This time, it was from someone else. "Jade invited me to a banquet?" Sima Yue looked at the invitation and was surprised that Jade would invite her. "I don't know. The person who delivered the invitation handed it to the guard and left. I just happened to pass by and brought it back for you." Fatty Chu said, "Yue, are you going tonight? It says that she has something to discuss with me." "It seems that she has something to discuss with me. If that's the case, then go ahead. If you're bored, you can come back." Sima Yue said, "Why was Jade looking for him?" "We didn't receive an invitation, so we can't go. You have to be careful when you go alone. It's best if you stay with your brother and the others." Fatty Chu warned. "I know." In the evening, Sima Yue, and the others went to the Alchemist Guild together. Because they only invited those from the younger generation who had participated in the competition, Wei Ziqi and the others could only stay at home. Originally, they knew that Sima Yue would not attend the banquet, but when she suddenly appeared, everyone was a little surprised. When they heard that she was going to attend the banquet, they did not think much about it and brought her along. When the Leaf family was challenged, they were almost defeated. I didn't expect them to win the last round. Otherwise, they would be a second-rate force now. Thinking about how we still have to see them tonight, I'm a little unhappy." Sima Yue said, "You could turn a blind eye to it." Sima Yue closed his eyes and rested, not even looking at him. "That's the only way," Sima Yue said helplessly. After that, he looked at Sima Yue, saying, Yu, didn't you say that you weren't going? Why did you change your mind?" "I received an invitation from Jade in the afternoon, saying that she had something to discuss with me. I didn't know what it was, so I decided to go and take a look. After all, we know each other," Sima Yue said. Sima Yue opened his eyes and glanced at her. His eyes flashed, but he didn't say anything and closed them again. The beast carriage brought them to the Alchemist Guild on time. Under the guidance of the servant girl, they went to the place where the event would be held. At this time, many people had already gathered. Most of the people from the other clans had come. They all raised their wine cups and chatted in groups of 3 or 5. Sima Yue held her wine cup and chatted with Sima Yue in a corner. After a while, a servant girl came forward, saying, "Young Master Yue, my family's young miss invites you to come over." Sima Yue recognized this person. She was Jade's personal servant girl. When she saw that she had called for her, she didn't have any suspicions and stood up to follow her. "I'll go with you." Sima Yulin felt a little uneasy as he stood up and said, I'm sorry, young Master Yulin. My family's young miss only invites young Master Yue over. The servant girl said apologetically. After that, she looked at Sima Yue and said, Young Master Yue, please come with me. Sima Yue nodded at Sima Yulin and followed the servant girl out of the venue. Sima Yulin watched them leave and went back to his seat alone. Sima Yue followed the servant girl to the back of the Alchemist Guild. Because she had never been here before, she didn't know if the servant girl was leading her in the right direction. After walking for 10 minutes, she saw that the servant girl was leading her in a more and more secluded area. She stopped and asked, Your family's young miss is the Alchemist Guild's young Mississippi. Her courtyard can't be so secluded, right? The servant girl smiled, saying, My family's young miss is not meeting you in her courtyard. She has some things she wants to say to you, so she specially chose a secluded place. We'll be there soon. Although Sima Yue was suspicious, she still followed her. After a few minutes, they arrived at a secluded courtyard. There was a pavilion in the courtyard with some dishes and a jug of wine. Young Master Yue, please wait in the pavilion. My family's young miss will be here soon. The servant girl left after speaking. Sima Yue walked into the pavilion and saw the dishes on the table. Her lips curled into a cold smile. Looks like someone purposely lured me here, she said softly. Li Mu, who was on the other side of the courtyard, felt his heart skip a beat. He secretly laughed at the mechanism in his hand. Whoosh! The stone floor under her feet suddenly opened, and she fell down. Yu, an anxious voice called out from the courtyard. Sima Yue didn't even see who it was before she fell into darkness. In the darkness, she felt someone jump down before the stone floor closed. The hole below was very deep. It was close to 100 meters deep. Because the stone floor above was closed, it was pitch black below. In a moment of desperation, she released a ball of fire. When she saw the ground, she quickly adjusted her body and landed steadily. After a few seconds, another person also landed. Yulin. Sima Yue saw who it was and said with surprise, Why are you here? I saw you leave and felt that something was wrong. So I secretly followed you. But when I saw you fall, I followed you. Sima Yue said. Thank you. Sima Yue said with a smile. With the help of the fire, they looked around and realized that this was a 2-meter-wide stone cave. The walls were covered in moss. It seemed that this was a mechanism set up before. The moss below our feet is a little strange, Sima Yue said. Sima Yue wanted to take a closer look at the moss when footsteps came from above. Sima Yue closed her eyes and sensed, saying, Li Mu, it's actually you. Ha ha. Sima Yue, you didn't expect it, right? It's me. Li Mu laughed from above. Aren't you very capable? How did you become my prisoner as well? Jade's servant girl has been bribed by you. Sima Yue thought of the servant girl who brought her here. She knew that she was Jade's personal servant girl, so she followed her. She didn't expect that she was already Li Mu's person. Your brain is really good. It's a pity that your brain can only be used until today. Li Mu said, You want to imprison me in such a small cage? Sima Yue narrowed her eyes and shot out a dangerous light. Wait till she goes up. She will definitely teach this Li Mu a lesson. Don't underestimate this place. These stones are incomparably hard. Even if a spirit paragon came, they would be able to break it in a short time. Li Mu said, I know you have a spirit paragon level spirit beast, but a few seconds is enough. I'll send you on your way now. Chapter 325. Li Mu, you've got guts. How dare you try to kill me? Once I'm up there, I'll make sure your Li family will be in chaos. Sima Yue said. She wasn't worried about her current situation. Chongming was in the spirit pagoda. With him around, this place couldn't hold her. Actually, if you only wanted me to call you boss, I wouldn't have killed you. However, you shouldn't have allowed the Sima family to embarrass the Li family during the competition. You shouldn't have had any improper thoughts about Lana, and you shouldn't have molested her. She is the most pure and flawless woman in my heart, but you almost took her virginity. This is unforgivable. Li Mu shouted from above. Lana, Nalan Lan? For some reason, Sima Yoyue's first thought was Nalan Lan. However, she didn't seem to have done those things recently. You don't deserve to call on her by her name. Li Mu snorted. Although you'll die after today, you still can't profane her purity. When did I molest the goddess in your heart? Sima Yu rubbed her nose when she saw Sima Yulin's unreadable gaze. When will you understand? Li Mu said, don't even think about stalling for time. No matter what happens today, you're going to die. Sima Yulin, I didn't want to deal with you at first, but I didn't think that you would actually jump in with me. Since that's the case, you guys can go on your way. Sima Yulin condensed his spirit energy and hit the lid, but there was no reaction. Haha, well done. Li Mu shouted from above. I originally wanted to do it myself, but I didn't expect you to do it yourselves. Goodbye, haha. Sima Yulin had yet to understand what Li Mu meant when he suddenly heard Sima Yu exclaim, teleportation array. This transmission formation was specially prepared for you. You can go on your way with peace of mind. Li Mu's voice came from above, with pride and joy of success. They swept away the moss on the ground, and there really was a teleportation array underneath. Furthermore, Sima Yulin's attack just now had activated the teleportation array. In an instant, a bright light shone, enveloping the two of them. I don't know where this teleportation array leads to. Sima Yulin looked at the teleportation array, but he couldn't tell where it led to. It's definitely not a good place. Sima Yue finished her sentence, and both of them disappeared from the teleportation portal. The moment they left, Sima Yulin hugged Sima Yu tightly. Li Mu, don't let me come back alive. Otherwise, I'll destroy your Li family. Sima Yoyue's voice drifted over. Li Mu waited for a while. After confirming that there was no one below, he opened the mechanism. Sure enough, there was no one below. Young Master Li? Nalan Lan appeared in the courtyard and looked at Li Mu and the trap in shock. Lan I've already avenged you. Li Mu said. Nalan Lan covered her mouth with both hands and cried out, where's Sima Yue? The teleportation array below will send them to the scary place I told you about. I'm afraid that they're already there. Li Mu said. Will there be any problems? Nalan Lan asked. Don't worry, they were taken away by Jade's servant. When the time comes, just get the Sima family to ask the Yin family for them. It has nothing to do with us. Li Mu said and pressed the switch of the trap. The floor of the pavilion closed up again. Thank you, Big Brother Li, Nalan Lan said gratefully. Why are you still thanking me? You know that I did all of this willingly. Li Mu said as he stepped forward and held Li Mu's hand, saying, Lana, you understand my intentions. Today, I'll ask you one thing. Are you willing to be with me? Nalan Lan would have replied shyly, but Nalan Lan withdrew her hand. When she withdrew her hand, it made Li Mu's heart turn cold. Big Brother Li, you're a good person. The girl who is with you will be very happy. However, that person is not Lana. We're not fated to be together. Nalan Lan said. Why? Is it because of the Nalan family? Li Mu asked anxiously. Nalan Lan shook her head, saying no. If it was before today, it could be. However, the Nalan family can't make decisions for me now. I'll be leaving the Nalan family soon. Why? Where are you going? Li Mu stepped forward and wanted to grab her hand, but she avoided it without a trace. Big Brother Li, I'm now a member of the Sage Pavilion. Nalan Lan said. You've entered the Sage Pavilion? Li Mu was very surprised, but then said, it doesn't matter if you've entered the Sage Pavilion. The people of the Sage Pavilion can also marry others. It's not what you think, Nalan Lan said. Today, a pavilion master of the Sage Pavilion in the Upper Continent came down. When he saw me, he said that he wanted to bring me up to become the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion. The clan leader and the others have already agreed. Tomorrow, I will leave with the pavilion master and head to the Upper Continent. What? Li Mu stepped back in disbelief. Your strength is not enough. How can you go up there? The pavilion master said that if my physique is up there, my strength will improve very quickly. In a few years, I will be able to break through the spirit rank and step into the divine rank. Nalan Lan said, I came here today to tell you this. I didn't want you to take the risk for me. I didn't think that I would be too late. Big Brother Li, Lana has let you down. Please forget about Lan. After speaking, she ran out of the house. The sadness and apology on her face were completely gone. On her calm face was a victorious smile. Limu stood there alone. No one knew what he was thinking. In a mountain not far from Dragon Reflection Mountain, Sima Yu and Sima Yulin appeared from the void. Ouch! Damn it! Who set up this teleportation array? It's so unstable. My butt. Sima Yu's curses were heard, followed by a muffled sound. Yulin? Sima Yu finally thought of Sima Yulin and quickly realized that she was sitting on him. She quickly stood up and pulled him up, saying, "Are you okay? Girls shouldn't swear." Sima Yulin got up with the help of her strength and casually said a few words, causing Sima Yu to be stunned. What are you talking about?" Sima Yu let go of his hand and said with a smile. Sima Yulin looked at her and said seriously, "You have the fragrance of a girl on you." Huh? Sima Yu looked at him, not knowing what he was talking about. Although you look like a guy, and even divine beasts can't smell the scent on you. When they get close to you, they can smell a faint fragrance on you. This is something you can't hide, Sima Yulin said. Sima Yu blinked and looked at Sima Yulin's serious face. She shrugged and asked, "How do you know?" Chapter 326. Sima Yulin never thought that Sima Yu would admit it. At that moment, his heart trembled. How'd he know? Faced with a question, he could only say, "It's a guess." Before this, he had thought more than once that Sima Yu was a girl. Otherwise, why would Sima Yu ran and the others always protect her, not allowing men to come into contact with her? But these were all just guesses. Until just now, when he hugged her, the two of them were so close together. He leaned against her neck and smelled the fragrance of a woman. Only then did he confirm his guess. You can really guess. Sima Yu was sure that she had never revealed herself in front of Sima Yulin, so he must have guessed. At the same time, he sighed in his heart that this guy was too sharp. Why did you dress up as a man? Sima Yulin looked at her little face and subconsciously thought about how beautiful she would be if she was dressed as a girl. That's what my father told me when he handed me over to my grandfather. My grandfather has been asking me to dress up as a man all these years, but he doesn't know the reason. Sima Yu said, "Don't tell anyone." Sima Yulin nodded. "Where's this?" Seeing that he had agreed, Sima Yu did not dwell on this issue anymore. She began to observe the place where they were. "I think it's inside the mountain," Sima Yulin said. "If not, it's underground." Both of them used their spirit energy to condense fireballs to illuminate the area. Wherever the fireballs went, there were only walls. It was certain that they were not indoors, so it could only be underground or in the mountains. At this moment, Chongming was communicating with Sima Yu in the spirit pagoda. Sima Yu called Chongming out and asked, "Chongming, what's wrong?" Chongming's expression was ugly as he said, "I've been here before." "You've been here? Could this be?" Sima Yu's expression froze for a moment. She hoped that she was wrong. However, Chongming nodded and said, "That's right, this is where that creature is. I've been here before." F***CK, it's really here, Sima Yu exclaimed. "Where's this place?" Sima Yulin didn't know why Sima Yu had such a huge reaction. Wasn't Chongming a sacred beast? Why did he have such an expression? "Yulin, this is where Chongming was injured the last time," Sima Yu said bitterly. "Even he almost lost his life here. We're doomed this time." Sima Yulin's heart skipped a beat, and his expression became serious. He asked, "Is there no way out?" Chongming shook his head and said, "When I was here, I already lost my way underground. I don't know where the exit is. What do we do now?" Sima Yu looked at Chongming and Sima Yulin, seeking their opinion. "Since we can't find the exit, let's just walk in a random direction," Sima Yulin said. Chongming also nodded and said, "I'll lead the way in front, you guys follow behind." Chongming's heart was bitter. He didn't think that he would return so soon after leaving this place. The last time, he was saved by Sima Yu's master. He didn't know what would happen to him this time. Sima Yu followed behind Chongming, and her panicked heart slowly calmed down, saying, "How did that Limu send us here? Could it be that he knew that we would definitely die here? I've heard the clan leader say before that there seems to be something below the 10,000 Beast Mountain. Furthermore, Saint City doesn't allow anyone below the age of 20 to enter. I've also heard that Saint City once sent 10 over spirit paragons to a place, but not a single one returned. We might have come to a so-called dangerous place. Sima Yulin analyzed. Sigh, we already knew that there was a terrifying beast below. The last time, Chongming came here to investigate and almost lost his life. Sima Yue said, what I'm more curious about is how Li Mu knew about this place. Li Mu is very talented in alchemy, so he made an exception and came to Saint City before the age of 20. Sima Yulin said, could it be that he's been here before? Sima Yue guessed. At least he knows about this place. Sima Yulin said, the array was able to send us here, which means that the array master is pretty good. The location is pretty good. Sima Yue said, the Li clan has an array master, and he's only slightly weaker than my grandfather. Sima Yulin said, looks like those old things from the Li clan had a hand in this. Sima Yue said, if I can get out, I don't mind flattening the Li clan. No matter what, the Li clan is still a first-rank clan. It's not easy to exterminate a clan like that. Furthermore, they're an alchemy clan, so it's even harder to exterminate them. Sima Yulin said, then we'll have to see whose fist is bigger. Sima Yue said, even if I can't exterminate their clan, I'll take the lives of the people involved. No one can live well after scheming against me. If it's just dealing with a few people, it's not a problem. Sima Yulin said. At this time, Chongming suddenly stopped in front. What's wrong, Chongming? Sima Yue asked. We just passed by here. Chongming said. Pass by here? Sima Yue looked at the walls on both sides, but didn't feel anything special. She didn't know how Chongming could tell. Looks like this road is different from the one I took the last time. Chongming said. The last time he came here, although it was the same road, it was a different fork in the road. Who on earth made this? It's like a maze. Sima Yue said. Be careful. Halcyon suddenly turned around and brought Sima Yue and Sima Yulin back by a few tens of meters. A black fog quickly shot towards the place where they were just standing. A small pebble at the side of the wall was swept by the black fog and turned into a pile of powder. What a terrifying black fog. Sima Yue couldn't help but gulp when he saw this. It's this aura, Chongming said. Aura? What aura? Sima Yue asked. Chongming let them go, but didn't answer his question. However, Sima Yue knew what aura he was talking about. He was talking about the aura that was similar to the one on her body. Are we going to go back now? Sima Yue asked when he felt the heavy aura between Chongming and Sima Yue. Chongming closed his eyes and felt for a moment. His expression changed. He picked up Sima Yue and ran back. What's wrong? Sima Yue asked as she was carried on Chongming's shoulders. A lot of black fog is coming, Chongming said as he ran. Oh, who dash? Sima Yue felt a chill in front of her. She raised her head and saw 7 to 8 black fog chasing after them. Damn it, so many. She couldn't help but curse, urging Chongming to run. Sima Yue saw the black fog as well. He thought about how it had just swept past the stone, and the stone had turned into powder. If it had swept past them, would there still be any left? Chapter 327. Sima Yue stood on Chongming's shoulder and watched as the black fog chased after them. No matter how fast they ran, the black fog would catch up with them. This is bad. Chongming put down Sima Yue and the rest. The two of them were dumbfounded. Why was there such a black fog in front of them? This black fog has a dark aura. You guys try to attack with fire, Chongming said as he turned around and condensed a fireball to attack the black fog that was chasing them. Sima Yue and the others also knew that it was not the time to ask why. Since Chongming said to attack with fire, they formed fireballs and attacked the approaching black fog. Boom! The black fog was very corrosive, but just as Chongming said, it belonged to the dark element, and fire was its natural nemesis. Chi-chi! Some of the black fog emitted a rancid smell under the attack of the flames. After struggling for a while, it disappeared. It works! Sima Yue and the rest's eyes lit up. They threw out fireballs as if they were free. The black fog was unable to advance, but they were unable to retreat either. The black fog is increasing. The speed of their fireballs was far slower than the speed of the black fog. Gradually, their path was blocked by the black fog. The fireballs had no effect on the black fog at all. What are these things? Sima Yue saw them. F***CK. These black fog can be reborn. Looks like we scattered their forms, but we didn't hit their core. That's why they were able to gather again after being scattered. Sima Yulin said, the black fog over Halcyon's side takes a bit longer to gather. Sima Yu turned around to look at Halcyon's side and realized that the black fog on both sides were gathering at different times. Maybe it's because Chongming's rank is higher than ours, and their flames are stronger than ours. That's why it has this kind of effect. Sima Yulin said, high temperature? Sima Yue pondered for a moment before she activated the golden flames in her body and tossed some of it to the other side. Boom! The black fog on the other side was burned away in an instant, scaring the two into a daze. That's it. Sima Yue stared at the empty tunnel in front of her, unable to react. They don't seem to have overlapped. Sima Yulin looked at Sima Yu in shock. What kind of fire did she throw out just now? It actually caused him to feel a terrifying temperature. Keep an eye on them. I'll go help Chongming. Sima Yue saw that Crimson Flame's flame was useful. She turned and ran towards Chongming. She pulled out a flame and threw it towards the black fog opposite him. Boom! With the same explosion, the black fog disappeared without a trace. It's finally clean. Sima Yue heaved a long sigh of relief, then looked at Chongming and asked, Are you okay? It's fine. Chongming shook his head, then looked around and said, We need to choose a direction. Let's go in a random direction. Let's see if we can walk out of here. Sima Yue said. The three of them went on their way again. This time, the three of them walked side by side. Yue, what kind of flame is that? Sima Yulin asked. My contracted beast's life flame. Sima Yue said, If I knew it would be so useful, I would have used it from the start. Chongming, did you encounter this kind of black fog the last time you came in? Chongming shook his head, saying, The last time I came in, I encountered something else. It wasn't a fixed mechanism. However, it wasn't any easier than the previous one. This black fog has a dark aura. I think the creatures here are of the dark attribute. Sima Yulin said, No matter what attribute, I hope we don't encounter it. Sima Yue said, You have its flame. It shouldn't be too much of a problem for you to encounter this kind of attack. I'm just afraid we'll encounter something else. Chongming said. They walked in the tunnel for more than half an hour and met a few forks in the road. Every time, they chose based on their intuition. They didn't know where they were. There's the sound of water in front. Chongming said, Who knows, we might be able to get out. Sima Yue said happily. They followed the sound of water and walked forward. Very quickly, they saw an underground river. There's an underground river. I don't know if it leads to the outside. Sima Yue said, Look at the riverside. Sima Yulin pointed at the riverside. They didn't walk over rashly because they saw something on the riverside, a few skeletons. Who are these people? Sima Yue asked. Maybe they entered here by accident like us. Sima Yulin said, Their heads are facing our direction. This means that they are escaping from the underground river. Looks like this underground river isn't safe. Sima Yue said, Gurgle, gurgle. The sound of bubbles suddenly sounded as if the water was boiling. Let's go. As a sacred beast, Chongming had an extremely sharp intuition towards danger. When he heard the sound of bubbling, he felt a sense of danger. Sima Yue turned around and ran. As she ran, she turned back to look and realized that the underground river was bubbling nonstop. Then the water started to rise. Damn, is this really water? She was shocked by the scene in front of her and couldn't help but curse. The water is black. This isn't water at all. Chongming said, What a thick dark aura. The three of them ran forward quickly. They had a feeling that if they touched the water, they would be doomed. Roar! A roar suddenly sounded from all directions, causing the three of them to stop. What kind of creature is this? Its roar feels like it's piercing my soul. Sima Yulin covered his ears with a pained expression. Let's leave quickly. Chongming was the first to wake up. He carried Sima Yue and Sima Yulin, who were still in a daze, and continued to run. They turned left and right trying to get rid of the strange water. However, the water did not retreat when it met the wall. Instead, it flowed along the wall as if it had grown legs. Damn, is this really water? Sima Yulin couldn't help but curse. They had never seen such a strange thing before. When Sima Yue heard the roar, it was as if she was frozen. She felt something in the depths of her body stir, as if it was about to burst out. Why does it feel so familiar? What is this thing? Why does it resonate with my body? No wonder Chongming said that he felt a similar aura. What is it? What's going to rush out? She felt a wave of discomfort in her body. The spiritual energy in her body shrank bit by bit into her dantian. Then, a dark aura emitted from her body, shaking off Chongming and Sima Yulin, who were holding her. Ugh! Sima Yue clutched her chest and knelt on one knee. She looked a little weak. Yu? Chongming and Sima Yulin looked at her in shock. They didn't know what was wrong with her. Gulp, gulp! The water from the underground river chased over and flowed down the wall. Get back! Sima Yue suddenly shouted. The river water stagnated and actually flowed back the way it came. Chapter 328. Dark Aura. Sima Yulin said blankly when he saw Sima Yu's current state. Ugh. Sima Yue was extremely weak after scolding the river water. After struggling for a while, she fainted. Yu. Chongming and Sima Yulin immediately ran over and helped her up. Chongming held her hand and examined it, saying, "The aura in her body is very chaotic. All kinds of spiritual energy in her body are chaotic. If this continues, I'm afraid her life will be in danger." What he didn't say was that one of the strands of spiritual energy was black. Then what should we do? Do you have a way to save her? Sima Yulin asked. I can't. Chongming shook his head, but someone else could. Who? Before Chongming could say anything, Qi Yin came out of Sima Yu's body. What happened? Red Flame looked at Chongming and asked. He was usually in deep sleep and would only wake up when he sensed that Sima Yu's life was in danger. It was the same this time. Chongming told him about Sima Yu's abnormality after hearing the creature's roar. Then he saw Crimson Flame's egg burning, and a handsome man walked out of the flames. My lord. Chongming knelt down on one knee and saluted respectfully. Get up. Crimson Flame walked over and took Sima Yu from Sima Yulin's embrace. He held her hand and checked on her condition. A warm current flowed from their palms into her body, and the chaotic spiritual energy actually slowly stopped and obediently returned to her lower abdomen. That black aura also squeezed into the spiritual energy, carving out a space in her dantian. When Qi Yin saw the black aura, he frowned subconsciously. Sima Yue felt as if her body was about to be torn apart. She was in extreme pain all over her body. As a warm current entered her body, the pain slowly disappeared. She slowly opened her eyes and saw a handsome face. Although she had never seen him before, she immediately recognized who he was. Crimson Flame. She called out Crimson Flame's name. Her voice was so soft that it sounded like a breath coming out of her mouth. But Crimson Flame still heard it. You're awake. Crimson Flame's voice was still cold, but Sima Yue could feel his deep concern. Sima Yue smiled, saying, Crimson Flame, I didn't know that you were so handsome. After speaking, she fainted again. Halcyon and Sima Yulin saw that she had fainted again and looked at Crimson Flame. She's fine. Eat some pills and rest for a while, and you'll be fine. Qi Yin said as he took out a bed from her spatial ring and placed her on it. Take good care of her. When she wakes up, take her to see the creature. Sir, that creature is extremely powerful. Do we really have to bring her along? Halcyon asked worriedly. It's good for her to go. Crimson Flame said, her body is in a bad condition now. She might get better if she goes. After speaking, he returned to Sima Yu's body. After Crimson Flame left, the pressure in the air disappeared. Sima Yue finally felt that she could breathe properly. Chongming, who was that just now? Sima Yue could not help but ask. That was Yu's life contract beast. As for what it is, don't ask now. Chong-Ming said, "That's an existence that I look up to. Even if we are both her life contract beasts, we can't casually mention anything about her." Sima Yue saw that Chong-Ming was so serious and was even more surprised. She actually had such a powerful life contract beast. She even had a sacred beast and a group of divine beasts as her contract beasts. She was so powerful, an alchemist, an array master, and a beast tamer master. When he thought of this, his lips curled into a bitter smile. He had always wanted to catch up to her, but realized that she was still so far away from him. Looks like he had to work even harder. Sima Yue ate the pill. Although she fell asleep, she did not sleep well. A scene slowly appeared in her mind. "Sister, wake up. Let's go catch a spirit rabbit." A clear male voice sounded. Sima Yue opened her eyes and saw a delicate and handsome man standing on top of her head, looking at her with a smile. "Dear Feng, you want to eat roasted rabbit again?" Sima Yue sat up with a smile. Yes, the roasted rabbit that sister made was delicious. Shimin Feng pulled Sima Yue's hand, saying, "Sister, hurry up. If mother sees this, she will make me learn those things again." "Dear Feng, you are the eldest son of the Shimin clan. In the future, you will definitely take over the Shimin clan. Mother wants you to learn those things so that you can lead the clan further when you become a clan leader." Sima Yue said, "Actually, sister is the most powerful in the clan. If you become the clan leader, who would dare to bully the Shimin clan?" Shimin Feng said. Sima Yue smiled, saying, "You don't use me as a shield. Let's go and catch a spirit rabbit. After eating it, you can quickly go back to school." "All right, since sister wants me to do it, how can I not do it?" Shimin Feng smiled. "If you don't make good food for me in the future, I will be in trouble." "Greedy cat." Sima Yue scratched Shimin Feng's nose. Her eyes were full of love. Suddenly, the scene changed. Shimin Feng was no longer that handsome and cute. His body was covered in blood. It was unknown whether it was his or someone else's. He stood in the fire and shouted at Sima Yue, "Sister, quickly leave. Dear Feng, let's go together." Sima Yue held his hand and did not let go. Shimin Feng struggled his hand out of Sima Yue's hand. He looked at her and smiled, just like the day when he wanted to eat the roasted rabbit. "Sister, you have always been protecting me. This time, it is my turn to protect you. You leave first. I will wait for you to recover and come back to find me. Sister, I will wait for you. You must live." After speaking, he jumped off the flying beast and attacked the soldiers behind him. He watched as the flying beast took his favorite sister further and further away. "Sister, I will wait for you. In my next life, I will still be your younger brother." They were clearly far away, and the words that traveled here were soft. However, Sima Yue felt that these words kept repeating in her mind. It was so loud that even the apathetic could hear them. "Dear Feng." Sima Yue, who was lying on the bed, teared up. Her pale face was filled with pain and self-blame. Yue, wake up." Sima Yulin sat beside the bed. When he saw the tears in Sima Yue's eyes, he felt his heart ache. He stretched out his hand and held her hand, wanting to give her some strength. "Brother, wait for me. I will go back to find you." Sima Yue said unconsciously. "Dear Feng, brother?" Sima Yulin repeated her words. He thought that this might be something that happened in her childhood, before she was adopted. However, he felt that it was not right. She had been in the Sima family since she was young. She did not have this so-called childhood. These people, who are they? Who are you, the one who made the Dark River water retreat? He looked at Sima Yue and suddenly felt that she still had a lot of mysteries. If he did not clear it up, he would never be able to get close to her. Chapter 329. After a while, Sima Yue woke up. The pillow was soaked with her tears. You're awake?" Sima Yulin asked when he saw that she was awake. Sima Yue wanted to stretch forth a hand to rub her forehead, but she realized that she was holding onto Sima Yulin's hand tightly. She let go and saw that there were purple scratches on his hand. She said apologetically, "Sorry, I scratched you." "No problem." Sima Yulin smiled lightly, asking, "Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Sima Yue sat up and said, I'm fine. What about Chongming? He said that he was going to scout and left. Sima Yulin said, Oh, what's wrong with me? She rubbed her forehead, tried to relieve the pain in her head. Don't you know what happened to you? Sima Yulin asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I only remember hearing a roar. I don't remember anything after that. Sima Yulin told her everything that happened afterwards. When he heard that his roar had caused the water in the underground river to be pushed back, his mouth fell open. That amazing? She blinked her eyes, her face full of narcissism. He didn't know why, but when Sima Yulin saw her like this, the little knot in his heart immediately dispersed. So it was Crimson Flame who saved me, Sima Yue said. Suddenly, she screamed. What's wrong? Sima Yulin asked anxiously. I remember that when I woke up, I saw a handsome guy. I even called him Crimson Flame. I always thought that I was dreaming, so it was real, Sima Yu said in shock. Sima Yulin's face was full of black lines as he looked at Sima Yu. He had initially thought that she was feeling unwell or that something had happened, which was why her reaction was so big. He never thought that it was because of this. After a while, Chongming came back with some injuries. Chongming, are you injured? Sima Yue jumped off the bed and looked at Chongming. Just a minor injury, Chongming said. Sima Yue had rested enough. She put the bed away and walked to Chongming's side. She pulled his arm and saw a hideous wound from his shoulder all the way to his crutch. How did you get hurt? Sima Yue said as she took out a pill and fed it to Chongming. Then, she took out some disinfectant that she had concocted during her free time and cleaned the wound. She sprinkled some medicinal powder and bandaged the wound. Master said that he wanted you to see the creature. I thought that the road ahead was too dangerous, so I said that I would go and take a look first. Chongming said, but I didn't expect that I would get injured not long after. Red Flame wants me to meet that creature? Sima Yue looked at Chongming, not knowing why Red Flame wanted her to do this. That creature had been trapped for so many years, and even her master couldn't get close to it. But Qi Yin wanted her to see it? Wasn't he afraid that the creature would slap her to death? His Excellency said that it would be good for you to go. Chongming said, all right. She believed that Crimson Flame wouldn't harm her. But you and Master can't get close. How am I supposed to go to that place? His Excellency said that you just have to walk forward. Chongming conveyed Crimson Flame's words. Really? Can't you just tell me directly? Sima Yue grumbled, then looked at Chongming and Sima Yulin, saying, It seems safer here. Why don't you wait for me here? No way. Sima Yulin rejected. It's so dangerous ahead. How can we let you go alone? Chongming nodded, saying, Also, once you leave here, this place may not be safe. Just now, the water in the underground river had been pushed back by her roar. Who knew if she left, the strange water would come back again? Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. If they really met with any danger later, she would just keep them in the Spirit Pagoda. She agreed to let them accompany her. But where do we go now? Sima Yue looked around. They didn't even know where the heart of the array was. How were they going to meet that creature? This is a difficult problem, Sima Yulin said. Use your heart to feel. Crimson Flame's voice suddenly sounded. Sima Yue was stunned and closed her eyes to feel. Unknowingly, the black spiritual energy in her body began to flow. That aura was emitted from her body again. She opened her eyes and looked at the two of them, asking, Did you hear that sound? What sound? Sima Yulin and Chongming shook their heads. They only felt the dark aura from Sima Yue's body, but they didn't hear anything. Sima Yue thought about it, saying, I think I heard something calling out to me. It might be that creature. I think I know how to get there. Let's go. She led the two of them in a direction. When they met a fork in the road, she closed her eyes to feel and pointed out a path. After walking for half a day, they finally walked out of the maze-like tunnel. It's a little strange. Sima Yulin suddenly stopped and said not long after they stepped out of the maze. What's wrong? Sima Yue stopped and asked. Don't you feel that the temperature here is a little low? Sima Yulin said. As a spirit master, he had spiritual energy in his body. It was rare for him to feel cold or hot. However, When he came here, he felt so cold that his whole body was trembling. I don't feel anything, Sima Yue said, while looking at Chongming. Chongming shook his head, saying, although the temperature is a little low, it's not cold. Yulin, are you okay? Sima Yue walked over and stretched forth a hand to touch his hand, saying, your temperature is so low. Maybe something here is affecting him. Chongming said, why don't you? I'm fine. We can continue. Sima Yulin interrupted her. Oh, the temperature is rising. Sima Yue said when she felt that the temperature of Sima Yulin's hand had risen. Sima Yulin suddenly felt a little unnatural, saying, after you held my hand, I don't feel so cold anymore. Then let's continue like this, Sima Yue said. As such, she held Sima Yulin's hand and walked forward carefully. Sima Yulin felt the softness in his hand and became restless. Look at the two sides. Chongming suddenly pointed at the dark wall and said. Sima Yue and Chongming placed the fireball near the wall and took a step back in shock when they saw what was on the wall. Why are there so many spirit beasts? Sima Yue said. On the two sides of the wall, there were spirit beasts sitting quietly in crystals. It was as if they were sealed. There was no breath and no aura. These spirit beasts are at least sacred beasts, Chongming said as he looked at the spirit beasts. Sima Yue and the others could not tell, but they believed what Chongming said. Aren't there very few sacred beasts in the Yilin continent? Why are there so many here? Sima Yulin said. I think that these are guardian beasts. Chapter 330. Guardian Beast? Chongming looked at the sealed spirit beasts and said, maybe it's true. They're usually sealed here. If someone dares to touch the array, they'll be unsealed. They are the guardians of the array formation. Hearing his analysis, Sima Yulin also felt that this was the case. Since they're the guardian beasts of the array, will they attack us? Sima Yue looked at those sacred beasts and asked. It shouldn't be. As long as we don't attack the array, these guardian beasts shouldn't wake up. Chongming said. Then let's hurry up and leave. I keep feeling that these guardian beasts look fierce. Sima Yue said. All right, let's go. The three of them hurriedly moved forward and quickly passed by the guardian beasts. What they didn't see was that after they left, a sacred beast that was sealed in ice opened its eyes and followed their backs for a long time. Only when they disappeared did it close its eyes again. Before they left the tunnel, Sima Yue turned around and looked at them in confusion. What happened? Sima Yulin asked. I felt like someone was watching us just now, Sima Yue said, but I took a look and their eyes were closed. Maybe you're too nervous and are hallucinating, Sima Yulin said. Maybe. Sima Yue did not feel anything strange and gave up. At this time, Chongming, who was walking in front, suddenly stopped. What's wrong, Chongming? I walked the road ahead last time, Chongming said, but I lost consciousness halfway through. His words made Sima Yue and Sima Yulin nervous. Was this where Old Man Devil had saved him the last time? What exactly is here? She released Sima Yulin's hand and stepped forward to ask. Chongming replied in a deep voice, gravity and compression. Sima Yue sensed it again and said helplessly, it's in front of the tunnel. It seems like we have to walk over. The three of them adjusted their breathing and entered the next passage. Sima Yue realized that once they entered the tunnel, their legs immediately became heavy. Their legs felt as if they were filled with lead. Every step they took required all the strength in their body. Not only that, but when they walked less than 100 meters, they felt that the air seemed to have become heavier and was pressing them down. Kacha, Sima Yulin's body, was the weakest and was the first to succumb to the pressure. He knelt down immediately, and his knee bones cracked. Yulin, Sima Yue crawled over with difficulty and stretched forth a hand to support Sima Yulin. It's getting worse. Sima Yue felt that after she touched Sima Yulin, the gravity on them seemed to have doubled. It seemed that this place did not allow them to help each other. Chongming, who was walking a few steps ahead, could no longer continue. Several of his bones had been crushed. Sima Yue could no longer straighten her back. Seeing that the two of them were holding on with difficulty and had so many broken bones, she said, since I'm the one who wants to see it, let me bear it alone. After speaking, she kept Chongming and Sima Yulin into her spirit pagoda. Sima Yulin felt that the environment had changed. The suffocating pressure was no longer there, and he could see Sima Yu's contracted beasts. You guys should eat these pills first. Little Spirit threw a bottle of pills to each of them, then looked outside worriedly. Where is this place? He looked at the unfamiliar environment in shock. This is Yu's space. Chongming ate the pills and sat down to adjust his breathing. At the same time, he was observing the situation outside. Although Sima Yulin had many questions in his heart, he knew that this was not the time to ask them. He also looked outside with everyone. Sima Yu realized that she was the only one left, and the pressure in the air had decreased. She took out a few pills and ate them. After that, she took out a few more and put them in her mouth just in case. Damn it! Who set up this array? We've been here for 2 to 3 days, but we haven't seen the end of it. They even set up so many things to scare us. She cursed in her heart as she walked. At the same time, she used the spiritual energy in her body to resist the pressure in the air. She kept walking forward. Before her spiritual energy ran out, she swallowed 2 more pills and continued to walk forward. Many parts of her flesh had split open, and fresh blood flowed down her arms and legs. It was just that her bones had been tempered by crimson flame and were still holding on bitterly. The more she walked in, the more pressure she felt. Her speed slowed down, and there wasn't much flesh left on her body. Towards the end, she had already become a machine. The pain in her body had already numbed her. She felt that her blood was about to run out. If this continues, will I become a dried corpse? She saw the blood flowing out of her body and couldn't help but tease. It wasn't that she didn't think of entering the spirit pagoda, but she would still be in the same place after entering. She might as well keep walking forward. The pressure was getting stronger. She couldn't even stand properly, let alone straighten her back. She had to place both her hands on her knees to support herself. Finally, after walking for half a day, Sima Yue couldn't take it anymore and collapsed. The moment she collapsed, she saw a black fog floating towards her. Damn it, don't tell me I'm going to die like this. She thought of the black fog when she first entered the spirit pagoda. She only had time to think of this before she lost consciousness. When the people in the spirit pagoda saw the black fog, their expressions changed. However, they didn't have time to do anything. The outside became pitch black, and their vision was blocked. Pain. This was the only feeling Sima Yue had at this moment. This time, she didn't feel like her entire body was being torn apart. Instead, every inch of her skin was being torn apart, revealing her white bones. She could actually feel pain? Sima Yue regained consciousness. She suddenly opened her eyes. I'm not dead. This was her first thought. I'm not in the same place as before. This was her second reaction. Ouch. She wanted to sit up, but when she moved slightly, her entire body was in unbearable pain. Fortunately, the pill in her mouth was still there. She used her spiritual energy to catalyze the pill. Soon, her injuries were healed. After half a day, she felt that she could move again. She grimaced in pain as she sat up. Where is this? There was no firelight. The surroundings were as dark as ink, and she couldn't see clearly where she was. You're awake. A hoarse voice suddenly sounded, giving her a fright. Who are you? She shot out a fireball. The weak light pierced through the darkness and illuminated the surroundings. It was a huge cave. Her fireball couldn't illuminate all the corners. It's been so many years. I finally see light again. The hoarse voice sounded again. Sima Yue followed the voice and shone the fireball in front of her. She was shocked by the scene in front of her and took 2 steps back. A thick black fog almost filled half of the cave. In front of the black fog, piles of white bones were still emitting a cold light. She swallowed her saliva and asked, Who? Who are you? Chapter 331. Upon hearing Sima Yue's words, the black fog surged even more violently. Who am I? The voice was full of confusion. After a long time, it said, I haven't thought about this for a long time. I can't remember. How long have you been suppressed here? Sima Yue asked fearfully when she saw the black fog. How long has it been? I don't remember. The black fog said, I can't even see the sun rise and the moon set outside. So naturally, I don't know how many years have passed. Maybe thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands of years. Sima Yoyue's heart clenched. She had been suppressed for so long that she couldn't even remember how long it had been. Who am I? How long have I been here? The black fog repeated itself over and over again. Suddenly, it became berserk. The black fog seemed to have been stirred up by someone. There was a sudden gust of wind in the cave, almost blowing Sima Yue away. The skeletons in front of the black fog were swept up by the wind and smashed into the wall, turning into ashes. Sima Yoyue's face turned pale. If she were to hit the wall, would she die? She covered her face with her hands and said loudly, Senior, you are you. It doesn't matter what your name is or what your identity is. What's important is that you are you. I am me. The voice quieted down and the wind died down. I am me, I am me. You're right, I am me. Sima Yue saw that the black fog had calmed down and carefully lowered her arm. She wanted to ask him why he was locked up here, but she didn't expect him to go crazy after just a few words. She didn't dare to ask the rest of the questions. Make the flame bigger, Black Fog said. Sima Yue knew what he wanted to do, but she knew that she could not resist. She obediently formed another ball of flame and sent it to the black fog. Fire! Black Fog stared blankly at the fire, and Sima Yue thought that he had gone mad. However, she did not dare to interrupt his contemplation. Otherwise, she would be dead for sure if another hurricane came. After a while, the black fog seemed to have seen enough. Only then did it divide the flames into many small flames and scatter them in all directions. Perhaps the flame reminded him of something. The feeling he gave Sima Yue was normal. Senior, did you bring me here? Sima Yue asked. Yes. The black fog said, the aura on your body is very similar to mine. I can feel it. Sima Yue also felt that the dark energy in her body was similar to the black fog. Why did I bring you here? The black fog was confused again. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. Sima Yue said gratefully. Oh, you should be thanking me for not letting you all die right now. The black fog said, there was a little beast that came in last time. I still remember his aura. The black fog said. Sima Yue understood. The little beast it was talking about was Chongming. Thinking about how a sacred beast like him was called a little beast, she wanted to laugh. Thank you, Senior. Sima Yue thanked him again. You wanted to see me. The black fog said. Sima Yue was stunned. The other party's thought process was too fast. I felt it. You wanted to see me, and there was a familiar aura on your body. That's why I asked you to come. The black fog said. Senior asked me to come? Sima Yue said in shock. Otherwise, where do you think you can go? The black fog snorted. Sima Yue remembered that Old Man Devil and Chongming said that there were many traps below and that it was very dangerous. However, they did not encounter much danger after coming here. It was because the black fog sensed her aura and stopped all the dangers. However, even so, she was still covered in injuries. If it wasn't for him, they might not even be able to reach the gravitational tunnel. But you're not bad. The black fog said, you could walk half the way through the gravitational tunnel without making a sound. Thank you, Senior, for your praise and help. Sima Yue said, you shouldn't be thanking me. You should be thanking the aura in your body. If it wasn't for it, even if I brought you here, I'm afraid you would have ended up like those skeletons. The black fog said ungratefully. Sima Yue looked at the piles of skeletons and said, are these people like me who accidentally came here? Some are, some aren't. The black fog said, many of them are people who have designs on me. Only a few of them are people from this continent. However, do you think it's so easy to get my ideas? Since you're here, you should all stay and accompany me. Ha ha. Sima Yue felt her hair stand on end when she heard his laughter. She felt as if she was one of those skeletons. She looked at the skeletons again. It turned out that not all of them accidentally came here. Most of them came for him, but unfortunately, they lost their lives here. Those people probably didn't expect him to be so powerful when he was suppressed. Tell me, why do you want to see me? The black fog was still a little violent. Some of the black fog even left its original body and ran around the cave. It looked similar to the black fog they encountered before. The black fog flew around her. Sima Yue was so scared that she didn't dare to breathe. She was afraid that if she breathed too heavily, she would accidentally touch the black fog and turn into powder. I don't know why I'm looking for you, Sima Yue said frankly. Crimson Flame only asked her to meet him. He didn't say what she wanted to do or what she wanted. Then why do you want to see me? The black fog asked curiously. The black fog laughed in agreement and made a sharp sound. I just felt a similar aura, so I came over. Sima Yue said. Similar aura, similar aura. The black fog said over and over again. Suddenly, it remembered something and said excitedly, similar aura. Only my clan has similar aura. After saying that, before Sima Yue could react, the black fog entered her body. Sima Yue felt as if she was frozen in an instant. Her body didn't listen to her, and she could only feel a cold aura flowing in her body. Strange, strange. The black fog made a surprised sound as it flowed in her body. Senior, what's strange? Sima Yue was so cold that her teeth were chattering. She couldn't even speak coherently. The black fog didn't say anything and continued to explore her body. After a while, it said, I see. Whoosh. Once the black fog left her body, she felt as if she had come back to life. Light demon body, I didn't expect there to be such a body in this world. The black fog surrounded Sima Yue again. It's a pity that your body is in danger now. Previously, when you were triggered by my aura, your body was in danger of exploding. Chapter 332. Sima Yue smiled bitterly. When she woke up, she felt that the spiritual energy in her body was very unstable, especially the extra black spiritual energy. It was as if it was going to fight to the death with the other spiritual energies. Previously, Immerse had said that once the light and dark auras met, they would definitely fight within her body. If she wasn't careful, there would be the danger of her body exploding. Senior, is there any way? She asked. Since ancient times, light and darkness have been opposing each other. Now that you want to stuff darkness and light into one thing, do you still need to say what the consequences will be? Unless you're willing to completely disperse your cultivation, what else can you do? The black fog said, Disperse my cultivation? Sima Yue thought for a while and said, I won't disperse my cultivation. Then there's no other way. Black fog said, Then you can slowly wait for death. I love watching people wait for death the most. That feeling is too wonderful. Sima Yue felt that this guy was not a normal pervert. It was better for her not to provoke him. When he was done laughing, he opened his mouth and said, Actually, if you had chosen to disperse your cultivation just now, you would already be a skeleton by now. People who are afraid of death don't have the right to live in this world. Sima Yue was shocked. Did she just walk through the gates of hell? Fortunately, you have a backbone. Seeing that you might be my descendant, I'll help you a little. Come here. Sima Yue didn't hesitate and walked to the front in a few steps. A layer of invisible ripples blocked her steps. She was not worried that the black fog would harm her, because if it really wanted to kill her, she would have died thousands of times already. This damned formation. The shadow cursed and then said, You can sit there. Sit down. Sima Yue sat down cross-legged. The seal in your body has been completely undone. The dark part of your body has been sealed for too long, so it is very violent now. As long as it is sorted out, you won't be in much danger for the time being. The black fog said, I will only demonstrate it once in your body. If you can't learn it, then you can only blame yourself for being too stupid. After speaking, a black smoke separated from the black fog, passed through that layer of invisible barrier, and drilled into Sima Yue's head. Sima Yue concentrated on feeling the black fog's path in her body. She tried her best to control the black spiritual energy in her dantian to follow this path. Slowly, she found that the violent aura weakened. Finally, it obediently returned to the dantian pool and did not attack other pools. The aura here is not bad. After so many years of accumulation, it can be used by you. You can absorb them while you're at it. Black fog sensed the change in Sima Yu, and his eyes that were hidden in the black fog shone for a moment before they disappeared. Sima Yu's bodies as the black pool that was previously the size of a fingernail. Just when she thought it was done, the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth suddenly went berserk and began to attack the dark spiritual energy. Ah! Qi Yin shouted, and the spiritual energy obediently returned to its position. Sima Yue tried her best to control the spiritual energy, but it was not as effective as Qi Yin's shout. When everything in her body calmed down, she opened her eyes. "Thank you, Senior." She bowed to the black fog. "There is cause and effect. Cause today, effect tomorrow. You don't have to thank me now." The black fog said, "All right, I have helped you. You can leave now." "Senior, I have a question." Sima Yue said. "What?" "They said that after my seal was undone, the aura in my body changed, and the strange dark river was roared back. I want to know why." Sima Yue said. "That dark river?" The black fog was silent for a while, as if it was thinking of the reason. Just when Sima Yue thought it would not answer, it said lightly, "That is not a river. It is an underworld beast." After speaking, it used a black fog to envelop Sima Yue, and the person inside quickly lost consciousness. The black fog that enveloped her took her and flew out of the cave. "You have the aura of the royal family of the underworld clan. That underworld river beast will naturally be roared back by you." A human figure slowly condensed in the black fog. Looking at the direction she left, it said, "My royal family has another junior. Sima Yue naturally could not hear what it said. When she woke up, she was already at the lake of Dragon Reflection Mountain. The black fog that enveloped her was gone, and there was no aura left. There was not even a drop of water on her body. The wounds on her body had already healed when she was underground. Now, other than her tattered clothes, her wounds were all gone. She got up and flew to a valley. After making sure there was no one around, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. "Master, you're finally awake." Little Roar rushed into Sima Yu's embrace when she came in. His words were full of worry and anxiety. "Am I not here now?" Sima Yue patted Little Roar's back and smiled at the other contracted beasts. "Yue, are you okay?" Sima Yulin did not leave the place. He did not have the mood to tour the spirit pagoda, because he could not see her condition for a while. "I'm fine," Sima Yue said. "Did you see that creature?" Sima Yulin asked. "I guess so," Sima Yue said, "but he was wrapped in a thick black fog. I did not see his body." "Did he hurt you?" "No. Just like Crimson Flame said, he helped me a lot." Sima Yue said, "How long did we stay underground?" "Half a month," Little Spirit said. "We stayed for half a month?" Sima Yue was surprised. She thought that she only stayed for 3 to 5 days. "Since there's nothing else, I'll go take a bath and change my clothes." Her clothes were covered in dry blood. It was obvious that she was injured and lost a lot of blood. When she returned to her house, Little Spirit had already prepared the water for her. She put in some medicinal essence, then took off her clothes and went to take a bath. Emosha floated out from the devil's snare ring. Sima Yue quickly hid her body in the water. "See no evil." She glared at Emosha. Emosha did not say anything. He suddenly turned into black smoke and entered her body. After a while, he came out and said, "Fortunately, it's stable." Sima Yue pursed her lips, saying, "What exactly is that seal? It's so unreliable." That person just roared twice, and the dark aura came out and broke the seal. "That's not an ordinary person," Emosha said. "You have an inseparable relationship. That's why he could trigger the dark aura in your body." "Who is he?" Chapter 333. Sima Yue looked at Emosha. Could it be that he knew the identity of that person? "Don't look at me like that. I don't know who he is either." Emosha said. "Then how do you know that we have an inseparable relationship?" Sima Yue was confused. "I guessed," Emosha said irresponsibly. When did he learn to be sarcastic?" "Actually, It's better that you don't know about that person's identity. However, just as he said, you guys definitely have a certain degree of blood relation. As for whether or not this blood relation is real, I don't know. Immerse said, right now, this isn't the main point. You should consider other things. If that's not the point, then what is? Sima Yue asked. The darkness energy in your body has been unsealed ahead of time. This is beyond my expectations. Immerse said, right now, they are all in your sea of pawns. If you want them to be balanced, you can only make sure they are evenly matched. In other words, not only do I have to cultivate the light attribute, but I also have to cultivate the dark attribute. Sima Yue was speechless. How much would she have to cultivate? That's right. Immerse nodded. Not only that, you have to start refining your body. Body refinement? Sima Yue blinked her eyes. Why did this term sound so flustered? Although the two auras in your body can temporarily coexist peacefully, both open and covert struggles require a sturdy container. If your body is too weak, before the two auras reach their peak, your body will explode first. Immerse said. Sima Yue was speechless. Was he trying to refine her body? Immerse didn't care about her reaction and leaned forward to touch her forehead. Sima Yue felt a cooling sensation on her forehead, and something appeared in her mind. This is a method to refine the body. Go find the materials and do it yourself. Immerse glanced at her as he spoke. I didn't think that your body would still have something to look at. Before Sima Yue could react, he returned to the devil's snare bracelet. Sima Yue lowered her head to take a look. She had turned off the illusion ring when she was bathing. Now that she was in the form of a girl, she did not notice that she had lifted her body up a little. A large patch of her snow-white chest was exposed, and her proud peaks were faintly discernible in the water. She did not expect him to see it. F*CKU. She roared and took off the devil's snare bracelet in her hand and threw it into the bucket. She wanted to make a water devil's snare bracelet. Phew, the current situation is really terrible. She leaned against the side of the wooden tub, thinking about her messy body, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Recalling her experience at the bottom of the 10,000 Beast Mountain, her eyes slowly moistened. Fauna, little brother. She covered her face with both hands and wanted to use water to wipe away the tears that were falling down her cheeks. Sister, I'll wait for you to come back and find me. Shimin Feng's voice still echoed in her ears. Little brother, wait for me. I will find you, no matter where you are. Wait for me. Following the recovery of her soul, she could already slowly remember those lost memories. Although she couldn't remember them completely, once she thought of someone or something, she would be able to remember the related memories. Although she didn't deliberately think about the memories of her lost life, she didn't forget that she still had an identity, Shimin Yue, because Little Roar's existence was an indelible trace of that life. Long ago, she understood that after she was killed on Earth, she didn't directly enter this body. Instead, she became Shimin Yue and lived on the upper continent for who knows how many years. She had a new family, a mother who loved her dearly, and a cute little brother. But later on, the Shimin family was exterminated. From the fragmented memories that she recalled, it was because of her. Later on, she died and her soul was damaged. So when she entered this body, she forgot about the matters of Shimin Yue in this life. Now, following the recovery of her soul, she slowly remembered the past and remembered her family. She didn't know how long she soaked in the wooden tub, but when the people outside were getting anxious, she came out of her house. Big brother. Little Two heard the door open and hurried over, saying, Big brother, they said you were injured. Are you okay? Little Two, you're out? Sima Yue patted Little Two's head and asked, Actually, I could have come out a long time ago, but I wanted to consolidate it, so I delayed a bit. Little Two said, Big brother, are you okay? I'm fine. Sima Yue said, How long has it been since you went out? Half a year. Little Two said, I'll take you out to advance in a bit. Sima Yue said, Okay. Little Two smiled happily. She said that she would take him out, which meant that he wouldn't have to stay in the Spirit Pagoda for a while. Sima Yulin walked over, saying, What do you plan to do after you go out? Sima Yue's eyes flashed coldly, saying, I said before that if I go back alive, that means Li Mu is dead. Since I'm going back now, I have to find a way to fulfill my promise. What about the others? That array master will definitely die, and Nalan Lan, Sima Yue said solemnly. Nalan Lan? Although this was done by Li Mu, it was indeed Nalan Lan's plan. Sima Yue said, she should have told Li Mu that I took advantage of her, and asked Li Mu to think of a way to get rid of me. This way, she wouldn't have to appear, but she would still be able to kill me. Why would she want to harm you? Sima Yulin didn't know about their past relationship, and didn't understand why Nalan Lan wanted to harm her. Sima Yue brought Sima Yulin to the stone table in the courtyard and sat down, saying, because we are old enemies. Old enemies? She also came from the Dongchen Kingdom. When she was in the Dongchen Kingdom, the Sima family and the Nalan family were enemies. 6 years ago, she tried to kill me. It's a pity that I was lucky and didn't die. I even got Crimson Flame by chance. After I left the Dongchen Kingdom, I didn't think that she would come out as well. You haven't seen each other for so many years, but she still wants to act against you. Sima Yulin's eyes flashed with murderous intent. I'm guessing that she isn't the only one who wants to do this. Sima Yue said, she knows that I can refine pills and tame beasts. Furthermore, I was able to tame Saint Beasts that year. That's why when so many divine beasts appeared in the Sima family, she naturally thought of me. She only has to say a word in the Nalan family, and those old guys naturally won't let me stay. They will think of a way to get rid of me. Furthermore, Li Mu and I already have a grudge, and now I've become a tool for them to use. It had to be said that her analysis was very accurate, and she guessed what happened in a few moments. Nalan family. Sima Yulin clenched his fists under the table. Since we've been fighting for so many years, the Nalan family doesn't need to exist anymore. No, Sima Yu knew that Sima Yulin wanted to kill her and opened her mouth to stop him. Chapter 334. Sima Yulin never thought that Sima Yu would stop him. From what he knew, she was someone who would definitely take revenge. How could he let go of the Nalan family now? You don't want revenge? He asked. Of course I want to take revenge. Sima Yue said, but now is not the right time. You're talking about the ocean? Sima Yulin said, you also know that in these 2 years, the sea has become increasingly turbulent. The Li family and the Nalan family have already joined forces. If you want to deal with either of them, the other family will come to help. Sima Yue said, let's not talk about the fact that we are not strong enough to deal with the 2 families. Even if we could, it would be a huge shock to the entire continent if we were to destroy the 2 first-rate forces. If something really happened in the sea, it would be troublesome to deal with it. Why don't we drag them down with us when something happens in the sea? Sima Yulin was speechless. He naturally knew what Sima Yu was saying. Since she was able to look at the bigger picture, he couldn't say anything more. All right, then let's go back to Saint City before we talk. Sima Yulin said, we've been missing for so long. They must be worried sick. All right, Sima Yue said, let's go back. I'll let Little Two go out and level up first. She took the 2 people out. After Little Two went out, he found a place to mobilize the spirit energy in his body to attack the barrier in his body. Soon, the light of advancement enveloped him. After continuously rising 3 levels, Little Two stopped at level 1 Spirit King. Not bad. Advancing from a spiritual knight to a spiritual king in 2 years. This talent is enough to shock the entire continent. Sima Yue praised. 2 years ago, Little Two was still unable to cultivate. Now, he had surpassed the 3 ranks of spiritual knight, spiritual master, and great spiritual master to become a spiritual king. Even though he had the spirit pagoda as a cheat, it was still inseparable from his talent. When Sima Yulin found out about Little Two, he was very surprised as well. However, when he thought about how the people around her were all perverts, he was relieved. Then, they sat on Little Rock and flew toward the holy city. During the flight, Little Two excitedly looked at the outside world. For the past 2 years, in order to cultivate, he spent most of his time in the Spirit Pagoda. He would only come out when he needed to advance. When he needed experience, he would fight with the spirit beasts in the Spirit Pagoda. Little Two, I found a problem. Sima Yue looked at Little Two with a serious expression. Brother, what's wrong? Little Two looked at Sima Yue and straightened his body in fright. Is there a problem? Sima Yulin looked at Little Two as well. He didn't see any problems with his cultivation. Sima Yue stretched out her hands and pinched Little Two's face, saying, I realize that you haven't grown much in the past 2 years. Why is she still the same as when I first met you? Sima Yulin looked at Sima Yu, then looked at Little Two and decided not to say anything. She was always so erratic that he couldn't keep up with her rhythm. Little Two, on the other hand, froze when he heard what Sima Yue said. He looked at her carefully, saying, I didn't grow much after my spirit beast bloodline awakened. Sima Yue pulled away from Little Two and looked at him with narrowed eyes. This guy looked like he was only 8 or 9 years old, but hearing him say that, it didn't seem right. Tell me honestly, how old are you? Are you a 1,000-year-old monster? Little Two didn't know whether to laugh or cry at her question, saying, I'm not that old. I'm only 8 or 9 years old. Are you older than us? Sima Yue looked at Little Two's awkward expression and asked with wide eyes. And no, Little Two quickly denied. I'm only 16 this year. I'm still much younger than you guys. Are you really 16? Sima Yue confirmed again. Little Two shook his head vigorously, saying, I don't know why either. Ever since my spirit beast bloodline awakened, my body hasn't changed at all. Brother, will I not be able to grow up in the future? I don't know about that either. Sima Yue said, Yulin, doesn't Yulan have spirit beast bloodline in her body? How did she grow so big? This seems to have something to do with the spirit beast bloodline in her body. Sima Yulin said, although Yulan isn't like him, her body grows slower than the average person. As for Little Two, his bloodline is probably higher than Yulan's. But I'm not sure if that's the case. Looks like we can only wait for Master to come down and ask him. He's experienced and knowledgeable up there, so he should know the reason. Sima Yue said, Brother, nothing will happen to my body, right? Little Two looked at Sima Yue bitterly. Sima Yue came over and patted his head, saying with a smile, It should be fine. If there's any effect, cough, cough, it's probably that you'll turn from a boy to a man a few years later than normal people. Sima Yulin was stunned, and Little Two's face was as red as a cooked prawn. Both of them were stunned by her words. Turn from a boy to a man? How did she think of this? However, Sima Yue didn't think that there was anything wrong with what she said. She continued to pat Little Two's face, saying, Actually, I think you're really cute like this. When you grow up, you definitely won't let me get close to you. Ha! Little Two slapped Sima Yue's hand away helplessly and covered his face with both hands, saying, Really, brother? After speaking, he ignored her. When Sima Yue saw Little Two's appearance, she couldn't help but laugh by herself. Sima Yulin looked at the person lying on Little Rock's back and couldn't help but smile. Little Rock brought them back to Saint City. The morning sun had yet to rise, and the gates of Saint City had yet to open. When the time was up, the guards of Saint City opened the gates. When they saw the 3 of them waiting outside, they were stunned. Sima Yue and the other 2 ignored the stun guards. They sat on Yaguang's back and rushed towards the Sima family. When they disappeared at the end of the street, one of the guards said, That's the 2 from the Sima family? It's really them? They actually came back alive. That's unbelievable. Didn't they say that they were torn apart by the divine beasts in the mountains? How did they appear here? This is going to be fun. It seems like the Li, Sang, Hua, and Nalan clans have all left Saint City. Only the Sima family is still in the city. Let's see how the Alchemist Guild and the Sima family will explain this. Oh, I really want to go and watch the show. You're just thinking about it. Hurry up and guard the city gates. Sima Yue and the others rushed all the way and realized that Saint City was a lot more deserted than it was 10 days ago. Sima family. A group of Sima family members were waiting at the gate. Sima Yuyang was in front talking to everyone. Although everyone else has given up, our Sima family cannot give up. Today, we will go to 10,000 Beast Mountain to look again. No matter whether the rumors are true or not, we must at least see them alive or dead. Whose corpse do you want to see? A laugh came from the back of the group and shocked the Sima family members to turn around. Chapter 335. Book title: Wu Lingyu unjustly shot. By all the members of the Sima family widened their eyes when they saw the person walking towards them on the spirit beast. Immediately, everyone cheered. Yu Yulin, you're not dead. This is great. I told you they wouldn't die. Sima Yulu and the others ran over. Sima Yu came down from Yaguang's back and saw her 4 brothers' tired and excited faces. She smiled and said, "Brothers, I'm back." Sima Yuming patted her shoulder and said in a hoarse voice, "It's good that you're back." The other members of the Sima family also gathered around. When they saw that the 2 of them had returned in one piece, their faces lit up with excited smiles. "I'm sorry for making everyone worried." Sima Yue nodded at everyone and said, "It's good that you're back." Sima Yuyang stepped forward and patted their shoulders, saying, "Since you're back, let's go in first." "All right." Sima Yu nodded when she saw that there were many onlookers and followed everyone in. Something happened in the main family, so the clan leader and the elders have all returned. Only my father's generation and us stayed behind to continue looking for you, Sima Yuyang said as he walked. However, Grandpa Lin and Grandpa Lai stayed behind. Not long after they entered, they saw Sima Lin. Seeing that the 2 of them had returned, he indifferently said, "It's good that you're back." Sima Yu and Sima Yulin walked over and bowed to Sima Lin, saying, "Grandfather, we're back." "Grandpa Lin, let's talk in the living room," Sima Lin said. At this time, Sima Lai's voice sounded, "Yue is back?" Then, he hurriedly ran into the courtyard. When he saw Sima Yue, he shouted at her, "Where did you go to play?" "I didn't go either," Sima Yue retorted softly. Still denying it, Sima Lai slapped her and said, "You obviously have a mother's sunstone, so why didn't you contact your family for so many days?" Although everyone knew that she had many ways to save her life, it was precisely because the mother sunstone could not contact her that everyone was worried. "I don't have time to use this," Sima Yue said. "Lai, don't be in a hurry to get angry. Let's listen to what the 2 children have experienced." Sima Lin said, "That's right, grandfather. If you're like this, 5th bro won't have the time to tell us where he is during this period of time." Sima Yuran said, "If 5th brother wasn't caught up in something, he wouldn't have not contacted us." Sima Yue quickly nodded. 3rd elder brother really knew her well. "Let's go." Sima Lai was also anxious at the moment, so when he saw Sima Yue coming back, he couldn't help but yell at her. The main staff went to the living room while the others went to do their own things. Sima Lai and Sima Lin were the 2 seniors who had stayed behind. They sat at the head of the table, followed by Sima Yuming and his 4 brothers, including Sima Yuyang. The remaining 2 were Sima Yu and Sima Yulin. 3rd elder brother, why did you go to the 10,000 Beast Mountain to look for us? Sima Yue asked when she entered. Because the Alchemist Guild said that you were wandering around the Alchemist Guild and accidentally entered their teleportation array. You were sent to the depths of the 10,000 Beast Mountain. Sima Yuran said, "Where have you been these 10 days? Sima Yue laughed coldly, saying, "We were indeed sent away. However, we weren't sent to the depths of the 10,000 Beast Mountain. We were sent to the bottom of Dragon Reflection Mountain." "The bottom of Dragon Reflection Mountain? Isn't that?" Sima Yuyang cried out. "That's right. We were sent to the place where the fierce beasts were suppressed." Sima Yue said, "Is that the place where Chongming was injured?" Sima Lai's heart skipped a beat. Even Chongming was on the verge of death when he went there. If they were sent there and they were able to come back, how difficult would that be? It was no wonder that she didn't have the time to contact them. In that place, every step was dangerous. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. "What exactly is going on? Tell us properly," Sima Lin said. "Okay." Sima Yue then told them about how Li Mu had planned to use Jade's servant girl to lure them into a trap, then use the teleportation array to send them to the bottom of the Dragon Reflection Mountain. Of course, she didn't forget to mention Nalanland's involvement. "I know that it's impossible to deal with the 2 clans, but I will not let off those who were directly involved. Li Mu and the array master of the Li clan, as well as Nalanland, as well as Jade's servant girl, They will all die, Sima Yue finally said. Hearing about their experiences, the Sima family was incomparably furious. However, when they heard her last words, everyone's expressions were a little strange. What's wrong? Don't tell me that you can't take care of these people, Sima Yue said when she saw that everyone's expressions were strange. Of course not, Sima Lin said, since they dare to act against my Sima family, then they should be prepared to receive revenge. It's just that what? Sima Yue asked. Jade's servant girl took poison and committed suicide the night you went missing. As for Nalan Lan, she followed the people of the Sage Pavilion to the Primordial Lands on the second day. Sima Yuran said, Primordial Lands? How did she go there with the people of the Sage Pavilion? A pavilion master from the Sage Pavilion came down this time. It said that he took a fancy to her physique and talent, and wanted her to be the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion. He even said that although she wasn't strong enough now, once she went up, she would definitely be able to break through to the divine rank in less than 2 years. As such, he took her and left on the second day after this news was announced. Sima Yuran explained. So you're saying that Nalan Lan is no longer in the Yulin continent? Sima Yue said. For targets for revenge, but one had already committed suicide and one had left the continent. It was no wonder they had that kind of expression just now. Nalan Lan was actually able to become the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion. When I go back, I definitely have to ask my seniors how they chose the holy daughter, Sima Yue said unhappily. Her lotus physique is the physique that the Sage Pavilion yearns for even in their dreams. Wu Lingyu's voice suddenly rang out, giving everyone in the house a big fright. After that, a tunnel appeared in the house, and Wu Lingyu walked out from it, bringing with him the scent of the sea. You're back. Sima Yue glared at Wu Lingyu, saying, Tell me, were you the one who made Nalan Lan, the holy daughter? Pavilion Master Mu merely came down with me and just happened to see Nalan Lan, so he had the idea of keeping her. This has nothing to do with me. Wu Lingyu consciously came to Sima Yue's side and sat down. Why would a Pavilion Master come to a place like this? Sima Yue said, It must be because you told him about Nalan Lan's lotus physique. Although Wu Lingyu didn't know what had happened, seeing that Sima Yue was venting her anger on him, he felt wronged and said, I've never even seen her before. How would I know about her divine physique? As for Pavilion Master Mu, he came down because he had something to do, but I had to go to the sea and didn't have time to deal with it, so he came down with me. By the way, how did that Nalan Lan offend you? Chapter 336. Sima Yue snorted and turned her head away. Now that Nalan Lan had become a member of the Sage Pavilion, wouldn't she be together with Wu Lingyu? It's like this, Sima Yue dared to ignore Wu Lingyu, but the others didn't. They told him everything that had happened. You actually went to that place. Wu Lingyu was very angry after hearing that. She was actually framed when she was not around. If she hadn't been lucky enough to come out alive, wouldn't he have regretted it for the rest of his life? Not to mention that she's just a holy maiden of a branch. Even if she was from the main hall, you could still kill her. Wu Lingyu said, Really? Sima Yue turned to look at him and said, I don't care who she is. Now that she's up there, I can't kill her, but I'll go up eventually. If I go up at that time, don't blame me for killing the people of the Sage Pavilion. You can do whatever you want. Wu Lingyu said, If you want, I can do it for you. Sima Yue waved her hand and said, Forget it. I have to take my own revenge. Including this time, she has killed me twice. No matter what, I have to do it myself. All right then. Wu Lingyu didn't insist on avenging her. If she asked, he wouldn't refuse, but he liked her personality even more. Fifth bro, the Li clansmen have already left yesterday. Sima Yue said, Where's Li Mu? Sima Yue asked. He's still in the Holy City. He should be in the Alchemist Guild now. They won't easily return to their clans. Sima Yuyang said, All right, let's go settle the score with him now. Sima Yue stood up and said, You guys don't have to go, I'll go by myself. When the time comes, I'll only say that I'm representing myself, in case the Alchemist Guild finds trouble with the Sima family. I'll go with you, Sima Yulin said. He was also considered a victim this time, so he had his own standpoint. Let them go together, Sima Yulin said. Before clan leader left, he said that if someone really bullies us, we don't have to worry. We have to seek justice. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. This sly old fox already knew that she had been framed and that nothing would happen to her. That was why he gave her the right to settle the score with Li Mu and the rest. Let's go together then, Sima Yue said. Hence, the group of them headed towards the Alchemist Guild. When the passers-by saw them, especially when they saw Sima Yu and Sima Yulin walking in front, they knew that their disappearance was definitely not because they were accidentally teleported away like what the Alchemist Guild had said. Looking at their aggressive manner, it seems like they're going to find trouble with the Alchemist Guild. Come, let's follow them and take a look. More and more people followed them, forming a long tail behind them. Yu. Just as they reached the entrance of the Alchemist Guild, they heard a familiar voice. Sima Yue looked at Lu Ming, who had just come out, and said, Lu Ming, what are you doing here? I'm back at the Alchemist Guild again. Lu Ming said, Yu, when did you come back? They all said that something happened to you. Fourth sister even cried for a long time. I just came back a while ago. Sima Yue said, Are Lu Yun and the rest okay? They're all good. If they knew that you came back alive, they would definitely be overjoyed. Lu Ming said with a smile, You came here today to look for Li Mu, right? He just came back to the guild. Lu Ming had suspected Li Mu when Sima Yue and the rest went missing. However, he had no evidence and could not point him out. Now that he saw Sima Yue here, he guessed that Li Mu was the one who did it. Although I'm here to look for Li Mu, we are civilized people and will not do such impolite things. That's why I'm here to look for your guild leader, Sima Yue said with a smile. Look for the guild leader? Lu Ming frowned and said, The guild leader doesn't really care about the guild anymore. Furthermore, he didn't even show up at this event. I think he might not be in the guild now. Then the vice president will do, Sima Yue said. The vice president has a good relationship with Li Mu's master. He also thinks highly of Li Mu. If you want to settle the score with him, it's not a good idea to look for the vice president. There will be a lot of trouble. Lu Ming said worriedly. It's okay. I will make all the trouble become no trouble at all. Sima Yue laughed coldly and said that she would look for Lu Ming and Lu Yun. She then walked around him and continued on her way. Stop right there. The guard at the door shouted when he saw Sima Yue and the rest coming over. Sima Yue stopped at the entrance of the Alchemist Guild and said, Sima family, Sima Yue and Sima Yue request to see your guild leader. You want to see our guild leader? The guard was Li Mu's man. Naturally, he wouldn't let Sima Yue and the rest enter. He waved at them and said, The guild leader is not in the guild. If you have any matters, you can come back later. Sima Yue smiled and said, Then I won't see your guild leader. I'll look for Li Mu. Senior brother Li is practicing alchemy. He has no time for you. The guard continued to brush them off. Sima Yue glanced at them and said, Although I know my manners, I don't have much patience. Since you don't want to report to him, then don't stay here any longer. After speaking, she moved her body and 2 thuds were heard as the 2 guards fell to the ground. How dare you? One of the guards held his chest and scolded. Sima Yue couldn't be bothered with him and walked into the Alchemist Guild. Sima Yue? A doubtful voice was heard as Sima Yue and the rest walked through the courtyard. Sima Yue looked towards the voice and saw Han and Mo looking at them. Han and Mo walked over and saw that it was really Sima Yue and said, You didn't come to participate in the gathering. I'm not even here. How can I participate in the gathering? Sima Yue smiled. I heard that Li Mu is your junior brother. Ask him to come out. Why are you looking for him? Han and Mo asked. Of course, it's to settle the score. Sima Yue said, Are you willing to help me ask him to come here? If the people in the guild aren't willing, I can only find him myself. Han and Mo heard Sima Yue's threat and waved to one of the guards, saying, Go and ask Li Mu to come here. Not bad. He's much better than the 2 guards just now. Sima Yue said, You think that Li Mu harmed you? Han and Mo looked at her and asked, It's not what I think. It's the truth. Sima Yue said. Han and Mo didn't say anything else and brought them to the living room to wait. After a while, Li Mu came to the living room. Vice President Qian was with him. Senior brother, why are you in such a hurry? I'm still refining pills. Why did you ask me to come here? Li Mu said as he walked towards the living room. When he saw Sima Yue, he was stunned. Sima Yue smiled at him and said, I said before, don't let me come back alive. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble. Now that I'm back, are you prepared to be in trouble? Chapter 337. Li Mu's face instantly turned pale. Wasn't she teleported to that place? How did he come back alive? Seeing Li Mu's reaction, Han Mo immediately understood. Vice President Qian snorted and pulled Li Mu back to reality. He then looked at Sima Yue and asked arrogantly, Are you Sima Yue? That's him. Sima Yue nodded. Why have you come to the Union today? Do you know that outsiders are not allowed to enter without an invitation? Vice President Qian scolded. Also, I heard that you beat up my guard at the entrance of my union. Is your Sima family planning to attack my Alchemist guild? Sima Yue sneered. Just like that, the hat was placed on her. Instead, he even dragged the Sima family into this. Did he want her to stop causing trouble here? We don't have any plans to attack the Alchemist guild. We just want to talk to Li Mu about some private matters. Sima Yue said, Looking for Li Mu? I heard about what happened between the two of you. Since he lost the competition, he has to accept his loss and call you boss in the future. Vice President Qian didn't even lift his eyelids as he said, Since your talent in alchemy is so good, do you want to join my Alchemist guild? Vice President Qian blurted everything out without giving Sima Yue a chance to interrupt. Obviously, he wanted to help Li Mu get over this matter. If it was an ordinary person, upon hearing him say that he wanted to join the Alchemist Guild, they would definitely lose their sense of direction immediately. How would they still dare to go against him and find trouble with Li Mu? However, Sima Yue did not care about this and said, Thank you for your kind intentions, but I don't want to join the Alchemist Guild right now. I want to have a chat with Li Mu first. You look down on the Alchemist Guild? Vice President Qian squinted his eyes. He was a little angry that Sima Yue did not give him any face. We only let you in because you accidentally entered the teleportation array in my guild and went missing for more than 10 days. Otherwise, do you think you could come in so easily? Entered the teleportation array by mistake. Sima Yue looked at Vice President Qian's benevolent expression and said, I'm sure Li Mu knows best whether this is a mistake or not, right? I think Vice President Qian also knows about it. Know what? You brat. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Vice President Qian's face had already pulled down. I'm really sorry, but I don't want to drink any wine. Sima Yue said, I only want to settle scores with Li Mu today. Vice President Qian, it's better for you to watch from the side and not interfere. How dare you? Vice President Qian shouted angrily. He glared at Sima Yue. How many years had it been? No one had ever dared to speak to him like this. Sima Yue did not look at him. Instead, she looked at Li Mu and said, Li Mu, have you been preparing your heart these past few days? Li Mu was already in a daze when Sima Yue appeared. He did not know why, but even though Vice President Qian assured him that there would be no problem, he still felt endless fear from the bottom of his heart. The killing intent in Sima Yue's eyes was so real that it made him feel as if he was shrouded in death. Hearing Sima Yue's words, he forced himself to be calm and said, What are you talking about? I don't understand. If you want to commit murder in the guild, our guild will naturally not allow you to do as you wish. Sima Yue, this is the Alchemist Guild, not your Sima family. Vice President Qian shouted, Men, take them down. A group of guards rushed in from outside and surrounded Sima Yue. The lowest level of these guards was actually a spirit emperor. Sima Yue glanced at them. Not every guard in the guild was a spirit emperor. It seemed like they came prepared. Seeing Vice President Qian's intention, Sima Yue was too lazy to continue talking to them. She called out Chongming and said, Chongming, take them and let's go. Sacred Beast. Seeing Chongming, the people in the Alchemist Guild were stunned. Li Mu was shrouded in despair. He knew that he was doomed today. Halcyon did not say anything and directly sucked him over. The Li family hasn't left the mountain range yet. right? Sima Yue looked at Li Mu and said, I really want to know, the person who set up the array for you, how high his attainments are. Little Rock, let's go. Little Rock came out and brought the people from the Sima family. They directly flew away from the Alchemist Guild. President, what do we do now? A guard asked. What else can we do? Don't tell me you guys are going to fight with the sacred beast? Vice President Qian scolded. That Li Mu is going to be taken away, just like that? I heard that Sima Yue is a vengeful person. Li Mu has been taken away by her. I'm afraid that things are not looking good for him. An elder who rushed over said, isn't that Sima Yue a member of the Sima family? Since the Sima family dares to go against my Alchemist Guild, then they can't blame us for punishing them. Men, go and capture all the people from the Sima family. Vice President Qian said. At this moment, a guard hurriedly ran in from outside and passed a letter to Vice President Qian. Vice President Qian's face turned ugly after reading the letter. What's wrong? Hanemo saw that something was wrong and asked. The others looked at him as well. They didn't know why the vice president, who was so angry just now, suddenly looked like he had lost his mind. Vice President Qian passed the letter to the elder beside him. That elder was shocked after reading it. Elder? That elder calmed himself down and said, This is a letter personally written by the Sage Pavilion's Pavilion Master. He said that the Holy Son of the Upper Realm said that Sima Yue is his junior brother. Li Mu and the Sima family plotted against his junior brother and cannot be forgiven. Now that his junior brother wants to settle the score with Li Mu, he hopes that the guild will not interfere. Otherwise, if the Holy Son of the Upper Realm is angered, even the Sage Pavilion will not be able to quell his anger. What? Everyone present was shocked, especially Hanemo. He had interacted with Wu Lingyu before. He didn't think that Sima Yue was his junior brother. The Sage Pavilion had sent out such a letter to protect Sima Yue and the Sima family. Everyone disperse. Although Vice President Qian could ignore the Sage Pavilion, he couldn't ignore the Sage Pavilion from the Upper Realm. If they offended them and sent people down, the entire continent would be destroyed. Then Li Mu, Vice President Qian sighed and left. Although he didn't say it clearly, everyone knew that the Alchemist Guild couldn't protect Li Mu this time. Sima Yue didn't know that Wu Lingyu's words had solved her problem. At this moment, she was leading the Sima family towards the Li family. The Li family had already left the Saint City for a day, but their speed wasn't fast. Before they even left the 10,000 Beast Mountain, Sima Yue and the rest had caught up. Clan head, someone is approaching us. The Li family noticed that Sima Yue and the rest were chasing after them, and stopped. Sima Yue stood on Little Rock's back and approached the Li family. She asked, Who is Li Fei? That's Li Mu. The Li family immediately recognized Li Mu, who was thrown onto Little Rock's back by Sima Yue. They were all furious. Chapter 338. However, their anger quickly turned into fear, because Halcyon's gaze locked onto the terrified Li Fei, and he pulled him over. The moment he moved, the sacred beast's oppressive aura pressed down on the Li family members. The flying beast could not withstand it and fell to the ground. Oh, what are you doing? Li Fei shouted. Of course we're here to talk to you guys about what you did to us. Sima Yue said as she patted Little Rock, and the group landed on the ground. The members of the Li family fell from the sky. Although they could fly, under the pressure of Chongming, the spiritual qi in their bodies lost its effect, and they couldn't fly. Fortunately, there were flying beasts to cushion their fall, so they didn't fall to their deaths. Seeing Sima Yue walking towards them, the head of the Li family suppressed the fear in his heart and said, Sima Yue, what are you trying to do? Li family head, you don't have to be afraid. I've always been clear about gratitude and grudges. Although your Li family try to kill me, I won't kill all of you. Only an inhumane person would do something like that. Sima Yue said slowly. That's why nothing will happen to you today. Thank you, little friend Yue, for your magnanimity. In front of a sacred beast, in front of his life, Patriarch Li could throw away his dignity. When they heard that Sima Yue would not kill them, they immediately addressed her as little friend. The Sima family knew right from the start that they would not lay a hand on the Li family. They did not understand Sima Yu's decision. However, after hearing Sima Yulin's explanation, everyone understood. Sima Yu smiled and pointed at Li Mu and Li Fei, saying, "They plotted against me, so I'll settle the score with them. Patriarchally, do you have any objections?" No objection. Family head Li felt bitter in his heart. One was their array formation grandmaster, and the other was their clan's alchemy genius. Now, they were about to be killed in front of him, and he was even asked if he had any objections. Furthermore, he had to say that he had no objections. This kind of loss was something that only he would experience. That's good. Sima Yue looked at Li Mu and Li Fei innocently, saying, "Since your family has no objections, then I don't need to ask for your opinions." "You, what do you want to do?" Li Mu asked. "I love an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth." Sima Yue said, "Although I've already left the sacred city, a pure person like me doesn't like fighting and killing, so I won't kill you directly." When the Sima family heard her words, they could not help but roll their eyes in their hearts. "You're still pure? You don't like fighting and killing?" His skin was really thick to the extreme. "An eye for an eye?" Li Fei was surprised. You can't be thinking of smart. I won't let you have your way. I won't make that array formation again. Just kill me." Li Fei said. He had heard about that terrifying place from Li Mu, so he would rather die than go there. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him, saying, "Who said I'm going to make you set up the array?" "Yulin, did you remember the array formation from before?" Sima Yulin nodded, saying, "It shouldn't be a problem." "Then let's start. Chongming, watch them closely. Don't let them kill themselves." After speaking, she and Sima Yulin worked together to set up the array. The array that Li Fei had used an entire day to set up was done by the two of them in less than half a day. In the process of setting up, the Li family members were suffering every minute. They were waiting for death. "Done." Sima Yue clapped her hands, saying, "It's my first time setting it up, but I didn't expect it to take so long. Looks like our skills are still not up to par. We have to continue improving." Sima Yulin nodded. Hearing what they said, the Li family members couldn't help but curse in their hearts. It was their first time setting up an array, and they were already so fast. How could they complain that it was too slow? Don't forget that they were only in their 20s. It was only then that the Li family members remembered that she was an alchemist, and now she was an array master. "Chongming, throw the two of them over." Sima Yue said to Chongming. Halcyon clawed at the two of them, then kicked each of them into the array formation. "That place is actually quite fun. I hope you have fun," Sima Yue said as she activated the array. She watched as the array's light enveloped the two of them. Then they disappeared. The Li family members saw that Li Mu and Li Fei had disappeared and were so scared that their faces turned white. They were afraid that she would turn around and attack them. However, Sima Yue ignored them. She looked at Chongming and asked, "What did you do to them just now?" "Nothing much. I just left a mark to confirm whether they are dead or not," Chongming said lightly. "Chongming." Sima Yue gave him a thumbs up and praised him. With this, they would be at ease if they died. "Yue, what should we do with them?" Sima Yang walked over and asked. Following his question, the Li family members became nervous, as if they were waiting for a verdict. "I said that I would only take Li Mu and Li Fei's lives. I definitely won't take anyone else's." Sima Yue said, "Although they can avoid death, they can't escape punishment. No matter what, they're still your Li family members, aren't they?" The Li family members heard her say that she wouldn't take their lives, and their hearts finally calmed down. However, Sima Yue's words caused them to be worried again. "Yue, my little friend, what do you want?" The Li family leader forced himself to ask. "We went to that scary place and lost our lives a few times. After suffering so many injuries and shocks, we naturally need to calm our nerves." Sima Yue said, "I heard that the Li family is an alchemist family. It shouldn't be a problem to calm our nerves." Damn it. She was trying to take advantage of the situation. When everyone heard what she said, they finally understood what she meant. The Li family leader was a shrewd person. If he still didn't understand what Sima Yue meant, he would have lived for so many years in vain. Yue, my little friend, we have 2 stocks of 10,000-year-old spirit medicine here. I wonder if they can help you calm your nerves? The Lee family leader forced a smile and said, 2 stocks of 10,000-year-old spirit medicine. Sima Yoyue's eyes widened. Just when the Lee family leader thought that there was no problem, she changed the topic. Lee family leader, do you think we are beggars? 2 stocks of spirit medicine, and you want to calm us down? No, no, no. The Lee family leader hurriedly waved his hand. Looking at Sima Yoyue's attitude, it wasn't easy to calm her nerves. What does my little friend Yoyue want to use to calm your nerves? Well, it's actually very simple. Sima Yue rubbed her chin and said. When little two saw Sima Yoyue's expression, he suddenly remembered that she had the same expression when she was preparing to extort the West Moon Emperor in the West Moon Kingdom's palace. As expected, half an hour later, the Lee family members resumed their journey. At this time, other than the clothes they were wearing, they were penniless. Everyone's space rings had their imprints wiped off and became Sima Yoyue's things to calm her nerves. Shameless. Seeing her smile, so pure, not only the Lee family members who left, even the Sima family members laughed and scolded her. Chapter 339. Sima Yue didn't care how the Sima family laughed at her. She took a look at all the interspatial rings and realized that the Lee family was indeed a family of alchemists. They were much richer than the average family. Keep these. There are quite a few pills and ingredients inside. She handed the rings to Sima Yulin. Sima Yulin knew that she had a spirit pagoda, and there were many good things inside. She didn't care about these things, so he took them all. All right, let's return to the Holy City. Sima Yue said, we made a mess at the Alchemist Guild. I don't know if Grandpa and the rest can handle it. But with senior brother here, it shouldn't be a problem. Wu Lingyu originally wanted to go with her, but in the end, she was asked to stay behind. She said that she wanted to help look after the Sima family, at least until she finished packing up and went back. However, she never thought that Wu Lingyu would directly ask the Sage Pavilion to step in and reveal the relationship between the two of them. With this layer of protection, the Alchemist Guild did not even dare to let out a fart. Before they reached Shang City, Choming's expression suddenly changed. He said to Sima Yue, those two are dead. It'd be strange if they didn't die. Sima Yue wasn't surprised. Even they couldn't withstand the pressure inside, let alone Li Mu and Wang Yao. When they returned to the sacred city, they found that the Sima family had not moved at all. When they went in to take a look, everyone was still doing what they were supposed to do. It seemed that no one had been there at all. The Alchemist Guild didn't come looking for trouble? She asked doubtfully. Your senior brother has asked the people from the Sage Pavilion to step in. Sima Lai and Sima Lin walked over and said, oh, seems like it was the right decision to let him stay. Sima Yue said, have those two been dealt with? Sima Lai asked. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. What about the Lee family? Sima Lin asked. They were all hot-blooded children. She was afraid that they wouldn't be able to control their emotions. Speaking of the Lee family, the Sima family couldn't help laughing. Cough, cough, they all went back. I only killed Li Mu and Li Fei. I didn't kill anyone else. Sima Yue said. Sima Lin and the rest saw their expressions and knew that something must have happened. So they asked, what else? There's more. Sima Yue blinked and said, there's nothing else. Then why are they laughing? Sima Lin pointed at Sima Yu Yang and the others as he asked. Grandpa Lin, you have no idea. You robbed the entire Lee family. Sima Yu Yang said with a smile. Robbed them all? Those who did not go looked at Sima Yue. Did she become a robber? You don't know. Although she said she would let the Lee family go, she said she was shocked and needed to get over it. She took all the spatial rings of the Lee family members and took all their valuables. Sima Yu Yang could not help but laugh when he thought of Sima Yue's bandit temperament, saying, in the end, when the Lee family members left, apart from the clothes they were wearing, they had nothing else. I feel that if it were not for the fact that the Lee family leader was there, she would have only left them with a pair of underwear. Sima Yulu said. Sima Yue glared at them, saying, We can't let the Lee family not pay any price. It's already not bad that we kept their clothes. Everyone burst out laughing. It seemed that she really thought that way. Then what do you plan to do with the Nayland family? Sima Lin asked. That Nayland Lan is really cunning. She didn't appear directly, and she isn't even here right now, so we have no evidence. We can only let the Nayland clan benefit. Sima Yu said rather unwillingly. Then if there's anything in the future, let the Nayland family take the lead. Sima Lai said. They were close to the ocean and knew that the ocean was in turmoil recently. They were afraid that something was going to happen, so they planned to let the Nayland family take the lead. They were really grandfather and grandson. Even their thoughts were the same. Sima Yu smiled as she held onto Sima Lai's arm, saying, I think so too. Since there's nothing else, we should prepare to return to Anyang City. Sima Lin said. Okay. The Sima family had stayed behind to look for Sima Yu and the others. Now that they had returned, there was naturally no need for them to stay here. It's a pity that we didn't participate in the gathering later on. Sima Yu said rather regretfully. Actually, there wasn't much to see. It was just a few alchemists, armament masters, and beast tamer masters performing in front of everyone. Sima Yu said. Actually, it was not just her and Sima Yulin. The other members of the Sima family did not participate in the gathering later on and went to look for them. Oh, right. Where's Bei Gongtang and the others? Sima Yu asked as she recalled that she had not seen Bei Gongtang and the others after returning. They left with Oye. They should have gone to the mountains to look for you. They did not return, so they did not know that you had returned. Sima Yu said. Oh, then I'll contact them. Sima Yu said as she walked to the side and took out the mother stone to contact Bei Gongtang and the others. She returned quickly and said, They are indeed in the mountains and are preparing to return. See if there's anything else. If there is, quickly settle it. Once Bei Gongtang and the others return, we will leave. Sima Lin said, Yes. Sima Yu thought for a moment and said, I'm going out for a while. Where are you going? Sima Yulan asked. To the Lu clan. Sima Yu said as she turned around and left. After more than 2 hours, Sima Yu came to the Lu clan and knocked on the door. Lu Yan opened the door and saw Sima Yu and said, Yu? It's really you. Lu Yuan and Lu Fei heard Lu Yan's voice and came out of the house. When they saw Sima Yu, they smiled and said, We just said that you would definitely be fine. When second brother came back and said that you were already back, we didn't quite believe it. We didn't think that it was true, Lu Yuan said happily. Sima Yu smiled as she entered the courtyard. Lu Yan closed the door and followed her in. When she entered, she saw the dilapidated courtyard and said, I'm blessed with good fortune and won't die so easily. Have those people still been causing trouble for you recently? No. Ever since those people were crippled by you, no one has come. Lu Yun said, Speaking of which, I really have to thank you. I came today to tell you that Li Mu is already dead. Lu Ming's situation in the Alchemist Guild will not be so bad in the future. When I get back, I'll get someone to greet the guild and ask them to take care of him. His talent is not bad. He will have a good future. Thank you, Yue. Lu Fei looked at Sima Yue gratefully. Yue, are you going to leave? Lu Yuan asked. I'll be leaving by tomorrow or the day after. Sima Yue said, Will we be able to see you again in the future? We'll meet if fate allows. Sima Yue smiled and said, The outside world is very big. When you have the strength, you can go out and take a look. If you have the chance, you can also go to the mainland above to take a look. Maybe we'll meet again somewhere. You'll go to the world above in the future, right? Lu Yuan asked. Sima Yue nodded. She would go to the world above sooner or later. There were too many things for her to do there. Chapter 340. Sima Yue left the Lu family home more than an hour later. The moment she stepped out, she saw Wu Lingyu waiting on the street. Senior brother, why are you here? Wu Lingyu leaned casually against the wall. When she saw her walking over, she said, I was waiting for you. Waiting for me? What's the matter? Sima Yue asked. It's nothing. Why don't you go shopping with me? As he spoke, he did not wait for her reply. He hugged her with one hand and flew out. They flew all the way out of the holy city and arrived at a mountain peak. The two of them sat down on a large rock. Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue and said, "That old fart from the Sage Pavilion is urging me to go back again." "Senior brother, are you going back?" Sima Yue looked at him in surprise. "Didn't he just come down not long ago? Why did he have to go up again?" I came down this time mainly to investigate the situation in the sea region. I haven't even finished investigating when I received an order from the Sage Pavilion to return immediately. It could be that something important has happened." Wu Lingyu said, "But I wanted to see you before I left, so I delayed it for 2 days. Now that you've settled your matters, it's time for me to return." "Oh." Sima Yue lowered her head and replied faintly. "Then when are you leaving?" "I'll leave right away," Wu Lingyu said. "The higher-ups are rushing me. They've already called me 2 or 3 times in the past 2 days." "Then I wish you a safe journey." Sima Yue did not know what to say, so she casually replied, "Don't you have anything else to say to me?" Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue unhappily. Sima Yue raised her head and said, "You have to take the soul fluid regularly to nourish your soul. All right, take these with you." She took out some more soul fluid and handed it to Wu Lingyu, saying, "I don't know how long you can use it for, but remember to ask me for more before it runs out. Also, take this golden snake fruit as well. It's more useful for repairing your soul." When Wu Lingyu saw her exhortation, he smiled and said, "That's a good junior brother." Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him and said, "Keep these 2 things well. I won't care if you lose them. Also, the next time we meet, you better not have a very weak soul. If I find out that you wasted all these things, you don't need me to tell you the consequences." "I will definitely listen to junior brother's words," Wu Lingyu said. "That's good. The last time I went back, I heard that the One High Little Realm was about to open. I don't know if the old man will bring you there or make an exit for you. There will be people from various continents in that little realm, so you have to be extremely careful." Wu Lingyu said, "Don't worry as long as there are no god-tier monsters," Sima Yue said. Moreover, now that she had Cho Ming, even if she met a god-tier monster, she wouldn't have a chance of winning. Wu Lingyu saw Sima Yue's confident smile and said, "You have to hurry up and cultivate so that you can go up there earlier." "I will," Sima Yue said. Wu Lingyu really wanted to hug her, but he was afraid of scaring her, so he only stretched out his hand and ruffled her hair, saying, "Then I'll be leaving." Following that, Wu Lingyu formed a seal with both hands, and a tunnel appeared behind him. He looked at Sima Yue, then turned around and went in. Sima Yue watched Wu Lingyu go in and watched the tunnel close, saying, "When will I be able to create a tunnel like them?" Sigh, power. I really hope that I can increase my power when I go to the Little Realm this time. Otherwise, I don't know when I'll be able to go up and find Master and the others. She called out Little Rock and returned to Saint City. On the second day, Bei Gong Tang and the others returned. Ouyang Fei was actually there too. "Ouyang, is it alright to not go back like this?" Sima Yue said. Wei Ziqi smiled, saying, "The South Eclipse Emperor and the others wanted him to go back with them, but he said that he wouldn't be at ease if he didn't find you, so he wouldn't go back." The South Eclipse Emperor and the others had no choice but to go back on their own. Sima Yue looked gratefully at Ouyang Fei, Fatty Chu, and the others. "Thank you all." "Yue, where have you been all this time?" Bei Gong Tang asked. "I went to the bottom of Dragon Reflection Mountain." Sima Yue roughly told them about her experience, but she didn't tell them that her body was in a terrible state. At this time, Sima Yuyang walked over, saying, "Yue, since Bei Gong and the others have returned, let's prepare to go." "Okay." Apart from those who were originally here, everyone else went back. The younger generation followed Sima Yue and sat on Little Rock, while the others sat on other flying beasts. After half a day, they passed by Dragon Reflection Mountain. 10,000 Beast Mountain is rather peaceful now, so we won't rest at Dragon Reflection Mountain. We'll continue forward. Sima Lin said. Okay. Little Rock brought everyone further and further away from Dragon Reflection Mountain. Suddenly, the dark aura in her body seemed to be attracted as it surged twice in her dantian, then calmed down. Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at the lake beside Dragon Reflection Mountain, thinking of the creature that was suppressed there. She didn't know why, but she had a premonition that there would be a day when she would come back to this place to see it. Once they left 10,000 Beast Mountain, they didn't stop to change teleportation arrays. After 2 teleportation arrays, they finally returned to Anyang City. Because of what happened in the Little Realm, when Ouyang Fei said that he wanted to go back, Sima Yue got him to come along. However, she didn't tell him about what happened in the Little Realm. Even so, Ouyang Fei still followed her back because he trusted her. When the royal family of Central Wu Kingdom heard that Wang Ye from South Eclipse Kingdom had come, they specially sent someone to contact him. After finding out that he had come personally, the messenger left. 1 month later, Sima Yue finally received news from Old Man Devil. However, because of some matters in Divine Devil Valley, he didn't come down personally this time. Instead, he sent someone down. Greetings to Junior Valley Master. The person bowed when he saw Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at the ordinary-looking middle-aged man in front of her and asked, "You are?" "I am Divine Devil Valley's Outer Valley disciple, Feng Dong. I was ordered by the Second Valley Lord to come and meet the Junior Valley Master." Feng Dong said. "Why didn't Master come?" Sima Yue asked. "The Second Valley Lord was tied down by some matters, so he ordered me to come and deliver something to the Junior Valley Master." Feng Dong said as he took out a box and passed it to Sima Yue. Sima Yue opened it and saw a sound stone and something like a compass inside. She took out the sound stone and inserted her spirit chi. Old Man Devil's voice came from inside. "Yue, I have some matters to settle recently, so I can't go and find you personally. This compass is the key to enter Wen Hai's Little Realm. Because Elin Continent space is the most stable, it's a little difficult to open it. Therefore, this compass can only be used by you alone and can't be used by others. Aya, the people outside are rushing me again. I won't talk to you anymore. Be careful when you go to the Little Realm." After he finished speaking, the sound stone went silent. Master is too much. He didn't even say anything. Sima Yue pouted unhappily. Chapter 341. Feng Dongren looked like an honest man, but when he heard Sima Yue's complaint, he could not help but break out in a cold sweat. Secondly, the Valley Lord was more frightening than the Great Valley Lord. This Junior Valley Master actually dared to say such things about him. However, he heard that the Second Valley Lord doted on his disciple quite a bit. It could be seen from the things he did for her after he returned. "Uncle Feng, does Master have any other instructions?" Sima Yue asked. Feng Dong was stunned when she called him Uncle Feng. He was an old monster who was hundreds of years old, yet he was being called uncle by someone. "The Second Valley Lord told me to send you to the place where the Little Realm appeared." Feng Dong replied. "Am I the only one who can go?" Sima Yue asked. "The Second Valley Lord didn't say anything, but when I left, the First Valley Lord did tell me that the space this compass can open isn't large, and it isn't very stable either. It's already difficult for it to support you alone. If anyone else goes, I'm afraid they won't be able to withstand it." Feng Dong said. "Oh, in other words, I can go in alone, right?" Sima Yue asked. Feng Dong nodded. "When are we leaving?" Sima Yue asked. "It's best if it's now." Feng Dong said. "The Great Valley Lord said that the Little Realm of Wen Hai will appear in the next 2 days. In order to avoid missing it, it's better that we get there as soon as possible." "Oh, Uncle Feng, eat some fruits here and wait for me. I'll be right back." Sima Yue took out a plate of spirit fruits and ran out like a wisp of smoke. Feng Dong did not know what Sima Yue was going to do, so he could only wait for her in the house. Seeing the spirit fruit on the table, a trace of surprise flashed through his eyes. How could there be such a good spirit fruit in a place like the Yilin Continent? This Junior Valley Master doesn't put on any airs. He is much better than those young masters and young mistresses in the Inner Valley. His personality is also not bad. No wonder the Second Valley Lord and young Master Wu like him. He picked up a spirit fruit and looked at it. There was still water on it. It looked like it had just been washed. He sighed in his heart at Sima Yue's attentiveness. Sima Yue went out for half a day before she came back and said, "Uncle Feng, I'm ready. Let's go." Feng Dong nodded, all right. After saying that, he took out a small bead. The small bead emitted a white light, and within the range of the white light, a passage was opened. Then, the small bead turned into powder. Junior Valley Master, let's go, let's go. Let's go. After speaking, he pulled Sima Yu's hand and led her into the tunnel. And Sima Yu in Yuan, Yuan's. When she opened her eyes again, they were already on dry land. Where's this? Sima Yu looked at the vast expanse of snow and asked, I don't know. Feng Dong shook his head. The second Valley Lord said that if we activate the Yuyue, we will come to this place. This is the place where the little realm of One High will appear. It should be. Feng Dong said, the little realm hasn't opened yet. Let's wait here. All right. Sima Yuyue and Feng Dong found a flat place to set up a tent. They blocked the snowflakes outside, and the two of them ate barbecued meat and drank wine in the tent. Uncle Feng, what's that white Yue pearl? It can cut open space and create a tunnel. Sima Yue asked. Feng Dong was drinking wine. Seeing her curious look, he smiled. That's a space-time pearl that only exists in the upper realm. Before activating the pearl, you have to carve the coordinates in it. After activating it, it will create a tunnel to the coordinates. Isn't that the same as a teleportation portal? Sima Yue thought for a while and said, the functions are similar, but this kind of space-time pearl is more convenient. It's not as complicated as a teleportation portal. Feng Dong said, a teleportation portal can only be set up by a formation master. However, this kind of space-time pearl can be used even by people who don't know about formations. However, only people like us who don't know how to create a tunnel can use this. For example, the Valley Lord and the others use their own abilities to create the tunnel. Then do you have any more of these pearls? Sima Yue looked at him with a smile. Feng Dong was a little scared by her gaze. He shook his head and said, no, this space-time pearl was given to me by the second Valley Lord before he left. Oh, Sima Yue was a little disappointed. However, she quickly put aside this little disappointment. She picked up the wine jar and said, Uncle Feng, come, let's drink. Haha, all right. Although Feng Dong was a little slow, he was still bold and unrestrained. Once he drank, he changed. After eating and drinking to her heart's content, Sima Yue kept all these things into the spirit pagoda. Then, she chatted with Feng Dong and listened to him talk about the upper realm. After listening to him talk about the Divine Devil Valley, she then understood the position of the Divine Devil Valley in the upper realm. She was even more curious about the Divine Devil Valley that she had never seen before. They waited at the snow mountain for 3 days before a slight fluctuation came from the sky. Feng Dong, who was sitting on a big rock cultivating, opened his eyes and stood up, saying it's time. Sima Yue didn't feel anything unusual. However, when she saw Feng Dong stand up, she stood up as well. Junior Valley Master, I will use the compass to open up the little realm of One High. You can only enter when I let you in. Feng Dong said. All right, Uncle Feng. Sima Yue nodded. This little realm of One High can only stay in it for a year. After a year, it will disappear into the endless void. If you don't come out by then, you can only stay in there for the rest of your life. Feng Dong said, so Junior Valley Master, you must calculate the time well. Yes, yes. Also, people from other continents will enter too. Many of the younger generation from the upper realm will enter as well. Some of them aren't easy to get along with. Snatching good fortune has happened in other little realms before. If you meet them, try to avoid them if you can. If you're alone, don't go head-to-head with those in groups. Feng Dong advised. Sima Yue looked at the person who was advising her like an elder and smiled as she agreed. Uncle Feng, don't worry. I'll be fine. Yes, I'll come out on time. She promised. After you enter, I'll return to the primordial lands. I hope you can go up soon. Feng Dong said. Then, he thought of her abilities and said, I believe you should be able to come up in a few years. I'll wait for you up there. All right, wait for me to go up. I'll definitely treat Uncle Feng to wine and meat. Sima Yue smiled and said. Feng Dong smiled. He liked this Junior Valley Master very much. When the ripples in the void became stronger, Feng Dong asked Sima Yue to take out the compass and said, I'll open up the passage for you now. There's a lot of resistance when you enter from here, so you need me to open it for you. When you come out, you can activate this compass yourself." As he spoke, he inserted spiritual energy into the compass. In an instant, the compass shone brightly and flew into the air. Then, with it as the center, a passage slowly formed. Chapter 342. After the passage stabilized, the compass fell into Feng Dong's hands. He turned around and passed the compass to Sima Yue, saying, "Junior Valley Master, the passage has been opened." Sima Yue took the compass, nodded at Feng Dong, and flew into the tunnel. Just as Feng Dong had said, the spatial tunnel was not stable. When she was passing through it, she had a feeling that the tunnel would collapse at any moment. Plop! After some time, Sima Yue fell out of the spatial tunnel and into the water. Pff! Sima Yue came out of the water and spat out the water in her mouth. She wiped the water off her face. She still had lingering fears when she thought about what had happened just now. "I didn't think that the spatial passageway would collapse at the last moment. Fortunately, I've already reached the exit. Otherwise, it might have been torn apart." She raised her head and looked around. She found that this was a small lake. She swam towards the shore. After going ashore and confirming that there was no one around, she flashed into the Spirit Pagoda. Everyone who was waiting in the Spirit Pagoda was shocked to see Sima Yue drenched as she walked in. "Did she fight with someone outside just now?" "Yu, why are you all wet?" Sima Yulan covered her mouth as she asked with a smile. "I fell into the water when I entered the little realm." Sima Yue said, "I'll go change my clothes and bring you guys out." She quickly changed her clothes and led everyone out of the Spirit Pagoda. This time, apart from Wei Ziqi and the others, Sima Yuming and his brothers, there was also Sima Yulin and the other three. "This is the little realm? It looks similar to the outside." Sima Yuyang looked around, but didn't find anything special. "The spiritual energy is denser," Sima Yulin said. "Furthermore, the plants here seem to be rather old." Sima Yulan said, "Also, I can sense quite a few treasures. There must be a lot of treasures here." "Sister, I also sensed it. There are many treasures here." Little Two said, "This little realm is actually very similar to the Sima family's land. They are both different spaces. The only difference is that the land is fixed while this little realm is alive. It is said that it will move with time. We have 1 year to look for treasures and increase our strength." Sima Yue said, "Only 1 year? What if we don't leave after a year?" Sima Yuyang asked, "If you don't get out, then you can only stay here for the rest of your life." Sima Yue said, "And we don't know when we'll connect to this world again in this lifetime. Maybe no one will come here in this lifetime. If you want to be a savage here for the rest of your life, it's not impossible." Sima Yuyang shivered, saying, "Forget it, I still prefer the Huahua world outside. We can't see anything from here. Let's find a direction and see if we can find anything good." Sima Yuran said, "Sure." "Can Yulan sense where there are treasures?" Sima Yuyang agreed. Sima Yulan closed her eyes and sensed, saying, "Although I don't know what's in that direction, the fluctuations are bigger. I think it won't be bad. Then let's go there and take a look." Sima Yue called out Little Rock. "There are treasures in that direction too." Sima Yulan pointed in another direction. "Looks like there are treasures everywhere." Sima Yulu said, "Since there are so many of us, why don't we split up?" Sima Yuqing said, "That works too." Sima Yulin nodded. There were a total of 14 of them. They could split into 2 groups and search for their own opportunities. "That's right. In any case, we're not weak now. We might not be at a disadvantage if we meet people from other continents." Sima Yuyang said, "If we split up, we might be able to find more treasures." Sima Yulan disagreed, saying, "But we only have 1 year. If we don't meet when the time is up, won't the others have to stay here forever?" "I have an idea," Sima Yue said as she took out 2 pieces of jade, saying, "This is a treasure that I dug up from my senior brother's body. As long as we drip a drop of blood on it, we'll be able to see each other's direction and distance. When the time comes, we'll use this to find each other." "Will this work?" Sima Yulu asked. "You'll know once you try," Sima Yue said. She dripped a drop of blood on it, and got Sima Yulin to drip a drop of blood on it. The 2 drops of blood slowly mixed in, and 2 red dots appeared on the surface of the jade. Yulin, go, and try from afar, Sima Yue said. Sima Yue nodded and flew out. There's no movement. Everyone looked at the jade in Sima Yue's hand, and saw that the red dots on it didn't move. They felt that this method wouldn't work. Hey, there's a red dot moving, Sima Yuqing suddenly cried out. Everyone looked over, and sure enough, they saw a red dot slowly moving in a certain direction. Sima Yue took out the Mother-Sun Stone and contacted Sima Yulin. She asked him how far he had gone, and was told that he had already flown a few tens of kilometers. A few tens of kilometers isn't too far. We'll definitely be able to find each other, Sima Yuming said. Then we can split up, Sima Yuqing said. Very quickly, Sima Yulin returned, and everyone had already split up. Sima Yue led Bei Gong Tang, Wei Ziqi, Ouyang Fei, Fatty Chu, Little Tu, and Sima Yulu in one team. Sima Yuqing, Sima Yulan, Sima Yuyang, Sima Yuming, Sima Yuqi, Sima Yuran, and Sima Yulin in the other team. Since we split up, let's split up, Sima Yue said. The Mother-Sun Stone has been given to you. Everyone must keep in touch. If you're alone, you must contact the others. Okay. Very quickly, the 2 teams flew in the direction that Sima Yulan had pointed out. Sima Yue and the others sat on Little Rock and quickly arrived at a large mountain. It should be here, Sima Yue said. She patted Little Rock's back, and Little Rock brought them to the ground. Someone has been here before, Wei Ziqi said. Sima Yue and the others followed his gaze and saw that there were indeed people's footprints. There were also traces of people passing by. Based on the freshness of these traces, those people had just arrived here not long ago. Let's go to the mountain and take a look, Sima Yue said. Little Rock transformed and landed on Sima Yue's shoulder, and the group of them walked into the mountain. After walking for half a day and going over a few mountains, Little Tu tugged on Sima Yue's clothes and said, Sister, there's a treasure there. You can sense treasures too? Fatty Chu looked at Little Tu in shock. Little Tu shook his head, saying, I can smell a very, very fragrant smell. Let's go over and take a look, Sima Yue said. They followed the direction that Little Tu pointed and walked for a while. Indeed, they saw a blooming flower at the bottom of a cliff. Big bro, there's a flower. They had yet to speak when a rough voice came from behind them. Chapter 343. It's really an illusion. Another tender voice sounded. Big brother, we're really lucky. We've only just arrived, and we've already met Zisu Hua. Sima Yue and the rest's faces darkened when they heard the voice. The other party was treating them like air. They turned around and saw a dozen or so young people disembarking from a huge spirit beast. The leader was a man who looked to be in his 20s or 30s, and he was accompanied by 3 women and 6 men. Big brother, there's someone else here. A girl in an emerald green dress said when she saw Sima Yue and the rest. The man in the lead looked handsome, but unfortunately, his pair of malicious eyes ruined his handsomeness. He looked at Sima Yue and the others and said, This is the illusory flower that we found. Please take a detour. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Was the other party planning to snatch Zishu's flower? Are you all blind? She said bluntly. What do you mean? Another woman in a red dress shouted. It's literally what it means. Sima Yue said, We were the ones who came here first, but you said that you found the fake flower. We were standing in front of you, but you couldn't see it. If you're not blind, what are you? You're the blind one. The woman in the red dress took out a whip and pointed it at Sima Yue and the others, saying, In any case, we were the ones who found this flower. Hurry up and get out of the way, otherwise don't blame us for being impolite. As soon as she finished speaking, the people behind her took a few steps forward and came to her side. They all looked at Sima Yue and the rest. No wonder Master asked me why I didn't rob him the first time we met. It turns out that people like to rob people. Sima Yue said. Who said anything about robbing? This is clearly the illusory flower that we saw first. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly. Otherwise, not to mention this illusory flower. I'm afraid you'll even lose your lives." The coarse man who spoke first said. Sima Yue glanced at Bei Gong Tang, and Bei Gong Tang nodded. She leaped onto the cliff and dug out the illusory flower. After this Zishu flower bloomed, it would be as red as a camellia. No matter if it was the flower, the branches, or the leaves, they were all good medicinal ingredients that could be used to refine pills. Especially the flower. It was one of the medicinal ingredients that Mo Sha couldn't lack in the conjoined pill formula. Seeing that Bei Gong Tang had actually disregarded their words and dug out the Zishu flower, the other party was furious. The lady in the red dress immediately threw her whip at Sima Yue, shouting at the same time, "How dare you steal our Zishu flower? Take them all down." Hearing her words, those people immediately attacked Sima Yue and the rest. Sima Yue and the rest did not show any signs of weakness. Fatty Chu was the first to rush over. When he arrived at the enemy's camp, he punched the first boorish man to the ground, causing him to lose his ability to fight. "Fatty Chu, good job." Sima Yue saw how strong Fatty Chu was and shouted loudly. The other party did not think that Sima Yue and the rest would be able to knock one of their men down. Seeing how strong Fatty Chu's body was, they quickly called out their contracted beasts. "Contracted beasts? We have them too." Sima Yue and the rest called out their own contracted beasts. They were all divine beasts, causing the other party to be greatly shocked, especially since the lowest ranked one was a 5th ranked spirit paragon. That was comparable to a spirit paragon's strength. How could they be a match for these divine beasts? When those people saw the divine beasts, they knew that they had kicked an iron plate. Although these people were few in number, they were not weak. They had initially wanted to rob them, but they did not expect to be beaten up instead. After 10 minutes, apart from the 3 ladies who were slightly better off, the other 7 men were all beaten up until their heads were swollen. They were lying on the ground, unable to get up. Sima Yue looked at the people lying on the ground and said, "I've always been the one to rob others. No one else has ever robbed me. The next time you want to rob, open your eyes wide. We may spare your lives, but others may not." She looked at the lady in the red dress who had pointed a whip at her and said, "The next time you dare to point a whip at me, be careful of your whip. I won't be merciful just because you're a beautiful lady. Let's go." After speaking, they each sat on their own contracted beasts and left the cliff. Once they left, those people climbed up with difficulty and took out pills to eat. "Big brother, who are those people? Why do they have so many divine beasts?" The leader of the group had also been beaten until he was barely conscious. He said, "Each of them has a spirit paragon level divine beast. If they aren't from the primordial lands, then they could only be from the clans of the other continents. I took a look just now. There are 3 spirit paragons among them, and the other 3 are advanced spirit overlords. Even that little child is a spirit king. Their bone ages don't look old, but their strength is higher than our people." The lady in the jade green dress said. Bone age referred to a person's real age. It was not like a person's appearance. Perhaps they would stay young because of cultivation, but their bone age was always increasing. I originally thought that I had encountered a fortuitous encounter after coming in, but I never thought that I would be beaten up like this. If they really came down from the primordial lands, we've really kicked an iron plate. "Big brother, what do we do now?" the lady in the red dress asked. "What else can we do?" The man glared at her, saying, "If that's really the case, we have to hide from them. This is not the primordial lands we're from. If they kill us, we can only die in vain. Everyone, let's heal first." Although they were unwilling, they could only choose to stop here, because the people from the primordial lands were not people they could provoke. After Sima Yue and the others left the cliff, they continued to advance into the mountains. Little Two said that the deeper they went, the more he seemed to be able to sense the treasure that Sima Yue was talking about. Before the sky turned dark, they came to another valley to set up camp. There were no plants in the entire valley, only bare rocks. Sima Yue set up a protective array around the campsite. Then the group started to prepare food. "It smells so good." A group of people walked over, and before they even got close, someone exclaimed. Sima Yue had already sensed them when they entered the valley, but she did not have much of a reaction. After all, this was not their territory, and she did not feel any bad vibes from these people. Everyone is in such a good mood, a lady in a tight outfit said as she looked at them. Sima Yue and the others nodded at her, which was considered as a reply. It's getting late. Can we have a place in this valley? The lady asked. This place is not exclusive to us. Do as you please. Wei Ziqi said. Those people set up camp not far from them, and a fatty ran over. When he saw Sima Yue, Bai Gongtang, and the others barbecuing, his saliva almost flowed out. Just now he had exclaimed that it smelled so good. The lady walked over and said, We came from the Restless continent. I'm called Wapei. What about you? Chapter 344. Restless Continent. Seeing how confident they were, could it be that the Restless Continent was famous? We are from the Yilin Continent. Wei Ziqi replied. Yilin Continent. Guopei and the rest looked at Wei Ziqi and the others in shock. You're really from the Yilin Continent? Yeah, what's wrong? Sima Yue did not understand why the other party was so surprised. In the past, when the little realm appeared, no one from the Yilin Continent came here. Guopei smiled and said, You should be the first to come to this little realm in tens of thousands of years, so you're a little surprised. Please don't take offense. Sima Yue and the others nodded. Indeed, no one had come to the little realm before. What are your names? Guopei asked. My name is Wei Ziqi. Wei Ziqi first introduced himself, then introduced Sima Yue and the rest. Guopei also introduced them. The little fatty who was drooling over the food was Guoliang, Guopei's younger brother. Guopei looked at Guoliang and slapped him on the head. Sister, why did you hit me? Guoliang rubbed his head and glared at Guopei. Guopei put her hands on her hips and roared, Stop spitting. Don't embarrass me. Although Guoliang was dissatisfied, he still restrained his greedy look and turned to look at the two who were preparing the food with a smile. You this, Sima Yue looked at him and asked with a smile, Do you want to eat? Guoliang nodded vigorously. His eyes shone as he looked at the barbecued meat. Guopei tugged at Guoliang's sleeve and said, My little brother likes to eat it. Please don't mind him. It's nothing, we all like to eat it. Wei Ziqi said, Since we have prepared a lot of food, you guys can join us. However, you'll have to cook for yourselves after eating, Sima Yue said. Foodies were everywhere. In the past, she had thought that she liked to eat rather unconventional. But as she interacted with more and more people, she realized that there were still many people who liked to eat. Sure, your way of grilling meat is quite unique. Can you teach me? Guoliang heard Sima Yue's words and came over to ask. Sure. Sima Yue nodded. Then, she placed the roasted meat in her hands onto the plate and let Guoliang come to her seat. She let him watch Bai Gongtang roast the meat while she stood at the side to give him pointers on where to put the seasoning or when to turn the meat. This Guoliang was indeed a foodie. His hands-on skills were not just for show. Looking at the way he flipped the meat from the beginning, he was a little unfamiliar, but later on, he became skillful and smooth. This was not something that Fatty Chu and the rest could compare to. When Sima Yue saw that he had almost learned everything, she went to the side and picked up a piece of barbecued meat to eat. At the same time, she passed the plate with the barbecued meat to everyone. Guopei was a little embarrassed at first, but after taking a bite of the barbecued meat, her reservation disappeared and she exclaimed that it was delicious. When the other members of the Guo family saw this, they were no longer reserved and came over to eat the roasted meat. How can we not have good wine at a time like this? Fatty Chu said as he took out more than 10 jugs of wine and threw one jug over. Everyone hugged the jug and drank 2 mouthfuls. Bai Gongtang rolled her eyes at Sima Yue, who was standing at the side, eating the barbecued meat. This guy really knew how to slack off. Guoliang saw that the others were eating happily and shouted, You guys leave some for me too. I haven't eaten yet. Wei Ziqi smiled and put down the jug. He came to Guoliang's side and said, Let me do it. Okay. Guoliang passed the barbecued meat in his hands to Wei Ziqi and went to his previous position. He hugged the jug that he had drunk and started drinking, not minding that Wei Ziqi had drunk from it. Ouyang Fei also stood up and came to Bei Gong's barbecued meat rack and said, "You go and rest, I'll do it." Okay. Bei Gong Tang did not want a barbecued meat anymore and gave the stall to Ouyang Fei before joining the crowd. Yue, I want to eat meat porridge. Bei Gong Tang said unhappily that Sima Yue had left first. Sima Yue put down the barbecued meat in her hands and took out pots and pans to cook the porridge. Recently, she had eaten a lot of barbecued meat and did not really want to eat it. Tonight, it was only because the three big men wanted to eat it. Guoliang saw Sima Yue's utensils and said, "These are all spiritual tools. If you use them to cook, it will definitely increase the taste of the food. Why didn't I think of this before?" Guopei looked at him as if he was an idiot and said, "When have you ever seen an armament master refining these spirit artifacts?" "That's true." Guoliang scratched his head and said, "Those armament masters' butts are too high. If you want them to refine these things, you'll probably be blacklisted forever. Don't tell me that the armament masters in the Yilin continent refine these things to sell. Yue, where did you buy these spiritual tools?" "The armament masters in our continent are the same. How could they refine these things?" Sima Yue said. "Then where did you get these from?" Guoliang asked. "Fatty refined them." Sima Yue said, "Who asked him to be such a glutton? When we asked him to refine these things, he was even more enthusiastic than us." When the others heard her words, they laughed and said, "I think Fatty is the most unambitious armament master." Fatty Chu was not angry. He hugged the wine jar and said, "This is called applying what you have learned. This was taught to me by Yue." Then Fatty, "Help me refine some too." Guoliang said, "Don't worry, I'll definitely pay you. When I'm free, I'll refine them for you." Fatty Chu did not reject. However, they were here to look for opportunities. How would they have a time? "Fatty, what about the ones you refined in the past?" Wei Ziqi asked. "In the past? I can't take them out." Fatty Chu said. He was very principled. How could he show others things that were not refined well? "Fatty, you still have more." Guoliang looked at Fatty and said, "Since you have ready-made ones, sell them to me. Otherwise, when the time comes and you don't have time to refine them for me, I'll miss out on an armament master like you." Fatty Chu was pestered by Guoliang for a long time before he finally took out a few spirit tools. They were all pots and pans, and there was even a barbecue rack. These were all things that he had refined for Sima Yue. Because he felt that they were not very good, he waited for his armament refining skills to improve before he refined them again. Because of this, Sima Yue and the rest even joked that there would be a day when they would use these divine tools to make food. When Guoliang saw these tools, he was extremely excited. He touched this and looked at that. His mouth was about to split open from ear to ear. "Fatty, I want all these spirit tools. How are you selling them?" Fatty Chu shook his head and said, "I'm not selling these things." Once he heard that he was not selling, Guoliang panicked and said, "Fatty, how can you not sell them?" "No way. If you don't sell them to me, I'll always follow you. I'll follow you wherever you go." Chapter 345. Fatty Chu was speechless. Did Guoliang have to be so agitated? It was still Wei Ziqi who laughed from the side. "Fatty's meaning is that these things are all for you, and you don't need to spend money to buy them." Really? Happiness came so suddenly that Guoliang couldn't believe it for a moment. Fatty Chu nodded his head and said, "This thing wasn't refined very well in the first place. Since you want it, I'll give it to you. In any case, I don't think anyone would buy it." "Thank you, Fatty." Guoliang was so excited that he almost gave Fatty Chu a bear hug. Guopei helplessly shook her head when she saw her brother like this. She saw Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang fiddling at the side. She walked over and asked, "What are you guys doing?" "Kanji. It's good for nourishing one's chi and skin. It's suitable for women to nourish their bodies." Sima Yue said smoothly. "You can have a bowl later." Guopei looked at Sima Yue and said, You're a man. How do you know what a woman needs? Sima Yue originally wanted to nourish herself and Bei Gong Tang, so she answered Guo Pei Pei's question. Why did Guo Pei Pei act as if she was a gangster? Bei Gong's health isn't good, so I often make things for her to nourish her body. She was only stunned for a moment before she made up a story. Bei Gong Tang rolled her eyes at her, but did not expose her. I see. Miss Bei Gong is so lucky to have the few of you to protect her. As she said that, she looked at Wei Ziqi, who was roasting meat for Bei Gong. By the way, your surnames are different. You're not from the same family, right? No, Bei Gong Tang said. We formed a team when we were 15 or 16, and have already lived together for 6 to 7 years. We've been living together all this time, and we're closer than normal family members. It was rare for Bei Gong Tang to say such emotional words. Sima Yue was not used to it. That's great, Guo Pei Pei said enviously. For a large family like theirs, it was very difficult for such feelings to exist. Miss Guo, what kind of land is the Restless Land? Sima Yue asked. The Restless Continent is one of the top 10 continents, where geniuses gather. Many sects and families have members in the primordial lands. What are the 10 great continents? How did the continents' rankings come about? Bei Gong Tang asked curiously. Guo Pei Pei was originally a little surprised that they didn't even know this, but then she remembered that they came from the captive continent and felt that it was normal because they had never participated in the matters between the continents. She patiently explained to them, this ranking is actually based on the geniuses of each continent. Every 500 years, a competition will be held between the continents, and then the rankings will be calculated according to the results of each continent. So the participants are all geniuses from different continents? Sima Yue asked. That's right. People under 200 years old are geniuses. Guo Pei Pei said, this kind of competition is usually hosted by the forces of the upper realm. Those geniuses who stand out will be selected by the upper realm. The good ones will even directly join those forces. Don't all deities enter the upper realm? Sima Yue asked. Ha ha. The Guo family's people laughed when they heard their conversation. A girl called Guo Fu smiled and said, it's not like that. Deities have the qualifications to enter the upper realm, but not necessarily. Why? Fatty Chu asked. Because it's too hard to survive in the upper realm. If you don't have a powerful background, most deities will be easily killed by others. Guo Fu said. Huh? Fatty Chu and the others blinked. Was the upper realm that cruel? Guo Fu is not exaggerating at all. In our continent, those who have advanced to deities will not immediately go up. They will wait until their power is a little stronger before going up. Only those who have been selected by the forces of the upper realm will go up. Guo Pei Pei said, your continent can advance to deities? Sima Yu asked in surprise. They can. Why can't you? The Guo family's people looked at Sima Yue and the others in surprise. Sima Yue shook her head, saying, our continent can only advance to the peak of Spirit Paragon and can't advance any further. The only sacred beast that appeared, I don't know what method he used to advance. I've heard before that the Lin continent is called the prison continent. The rules there are very strong. Maybe it's because of this that you can't advance to deities. Guo Pei Pei said, young Miss Guo, you said that the upper realm is cruel. How cruel is it? Fatty Chu asked. I heard one of my granduncles say that in the upper realm, there are tens of thousands of people dying every day. Guo Pei Pei said, it doesn't sound like a lot, but thinking about it, there are so many people dying every day. How many people will die in the long run? Fatty Chu swallowed his saliva, saying, so many people will die? Won't they all die? If this was the Lin continent, the entire continent would have died in a few years, right? Puffed dash. Hearing his words, the Guo family laughed again. Guo Liang shook his head, saying, there are so many people in each continent, and the lifespan of a spirit master is so long. How many descendants will there be? Although there are many people dying every day, there are also many people being born every day. Although many people die, there are also many people who will be sent to the upper realm. So, you don't have to worry about everyone dying. Do you know how many continents there are in total? Fatty Chu was shocked. He used to think that the Dongchen kingdom was big, but after he came out and saw the Lin continent, he felt that the Dongchen kingdom was small. Chapter 346. I really didn't think that this world would actually be so big. Wei Ziqi stroked his chin and sighed. Fortunately, they had chosen to come out. If not, they would have lived in a small place like the Dongchun Kingdom for the rest of their lives, forever living like frogs at the bottom of a well. Sima Yue was more receptive as she recalled the endless universe in her previous life. There were many planets in the universe that even the people of the current era did not know about. Other than the ones that could be seen and explored, there were many more planets further away, and there might be many more life forms. Take the solar system as an example. With the Sun as the center, there were 8 major planets, including Mercury, Venus, and Earth, hundreds of known satellites, and hundreds of millions of small bodies in the solar system. And no one could say for sure how many solar systems there were in the universe. The primordial lands were like the Sun, and the other continents were like the planets and moons around the Sun. The world was infinitely big. This was Sima Yoyue's conclusion. But no matter how big the world is, their world lies in their hearts. However big their hearts were, their world would be just as big. After figuring this out, she slowly calmed down and continued to cook the porridge. Wei Ziqi and the rest also slowly accepted this matter. It was no wonder that they had been together with Sima Yue for so long. Their ability to accept things was extremely strong. No matter how big this world is, what we can do now is to raise our own strength. Fatty Chu clenched his fist and said, "That's right. Only when you have the strength can you go to other places to take a look." Sima Yue nodded as well. Sima Yue nodded in satisfaction when she saw that they were not affected by this fact. The porridge is ready. She put away the fire at the bottom of the pot, and Bei Gongtang and the others each took out their own bowls to scoop a bowl of soup. They ate a delicious meal together with the dishes that Bei Gongtang had just cooked. The food you guys make is really delicious. I ate so much barbecued meat just now that I'm full. If I'd known earlier, I wouldn't have eaten so much just now, Guo Liang said as he rubbed his round belly. Guo Peipei looked at her brother helplessly. She couldn't wait to punch him in the face and embarrass him again. But tonight, she had eaten more than she had ever eaten in her life. It was the same for the other members of the Guo family. Almost everyone was full. They had never eaten so much before. A wood dash, suddenly, a wolf's howl woke the lazy group of people. They stood up and looked in the direction of the howl. Peng dash, not long after, the aftermath of the battle spread over. Even though they were far away, they could still feel the soul-stirring pressure. Judging by the noise, there are at least 2 divine beasts at the peak of the spiritual venerable realm fighting, Guo Peipei said. It's coming from the heart of the mountain range's mountain range. It seems like there's some kind of heavenly treasure over there, which is why a battle of this level could occur. Guo Peipei said, "How do you know that there's a treasure?" Fatty Chu, "I've been to another lesser realm before. The rules are similar to this lesser realm. Only those below the ultimate god realm can enter." S's. Guo Peipei's said, "T, you've been to others?" Guo Peipei nodded, saying, "These appear at irregular times. But when they appear, the continents will get the news and let people in. I was lucky enough to come across one a few years ago." "Big sister, should we go over?" Guo Liang looked at the sky that was almost dyed red by the battle and asked. "No," Guo Peipei said. "They'll be fighting until tomorrow morning. There's no point in us going tonight." Oh, the members of the Guo family were convinced by Guo Peipei's words. Since she refused to go, they sat down again. Sima Yue looked at the Guo family members. They were all strong. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so calm in front of Spirit Paragon Spirit Beast. While she was sighing, the Guo family members were also guessing their strength. They came from the Yilin continent and shouldn't be very strong. They were so calm either because they were ignorant or because they were strong enough to not be afraid of a Spirit Paragon Spirit Beast. From tonight's interaction, they were definitely not ignorant people. Hence, the latter was the only possibility. Sima Yue and the others asked the Guo family members about the littles. Since they had eaten so much from them, the Guo family members had no choice but to tell them most of what they knew about the littles, and even told them how to raise their littles' strength. Sima Yu didn't have any objections to what they said and listened to them humbly. However, to her, when she found out that there was a group of divine beasts here, taming divine beasts seemed to have become a big way for her to increase her strength. When the two sides were done talking, the Guo family members got up and left. Just as they returned to their own tents, they suddenly felt a sense of danger, and all of them came out. Sima Yue also told everyone the moment the danger came. She even called Little Roar out and told him to go with Little Rock to gather information. Soon, Little Roar and the others came back and said, there are many spirit beasts on both sides of the valley. We've been surrounded. How many? Sima Yue asked. More than 100. Little Roar said. Seeing Sima Yue heave a sigh of relief, he added, it's more than 100 in one direction. What? Why didn't you say it all at once? Why are you panting at this time? Sima Yue knocked Little Roar's head. Little Roar looked gloomily at Sima Yue and wanted to stretch out his little legs to rub his head that was knocked. Where the ranks of those spirit beasts? Sima Yue asked again. Most of them are rank 2 or 3. A few of them are rank 3. None of them are rank 4. Little Rock said. Other than spirit beasts, there are many saint beasts behind. Little Roar added. Can't we take a flying beast and leave this place? Fatty Chu asked. You can't. Little Roar said. There are many flying beasts circling in the air. If you go up, you'll only be a target. The Guo family members also received the news. After thinking for a while, Guo Pei walked over and said to them, there are many spirit beasts surrounding this valley. I'm afraid there will be a battle later. When the time comes, we'll try our best to help you block some of them. Thank you for your kind intentions, Miss Guo. Sima Yue smiled. However, we don't plan to fight with those spirit beasts directly. You want to take a flying beast and leave? Guo Pei disagreed. There are many flying beasts outside. This path won't work. Sima Yue smiled confidently. No, we won't leave. We'll stay in this valley. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.